Peace, everybody. It's the Lord here, Cold World, and I'm over here kicking it with my main man, J-WIGG. What's good, sir?
What's good, Brody?
I cannot call it. I just want to welcome everybody back to another installment of Brody Sports Talk. It's episode 9. We're doing really well here. We've already surpassed our goal of 50,000 views, so definitely want to say thank you to everybody for their support. And if you're not following us, you need to be following us at Brody Sports Talk on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We're pushing for 100K views to start 2025. We're doing really well here. But again, thank you for your love and support. Go ahead and click on the bottom right-hand corner and subscribe on YouTube and like and share with your family and friends. We definitely appreciate the love. But to go ahead and get started, we got our opening take. We're going to do something a little different here today, Brodies. Since we're transitioning into the basketball season, football is approaching its apex. So it's only right for us to start talking about basketball now. So for our opening take, we got an interesting question here. NBA, no basketball attention. I think this was a great way to begin our takes on the NBA. We're both very, I would say, astute basketball fans. And yeah, everybody has their opinion on what's going on. But I think the biggest thing I want to talk about today is the ratings. A lot of people out there are talking about how bad the ratings are in the NBA right now. And quite frankly, I got a couple of reasons why, but I'm curious to see, what yours are. Since you're more so more of the basketball guy than I am, in regards to watching all 82 games and things. So, what's your take on that, Brody?
Well, I would say the first thing is it's LeBron, man. Let's just start with LeBron. LeBron is getting older, and LeBron has been the face of the league for over 20 years. A lot of people talk about how Jordan came into the league. Not Jordan. Let's start with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. The NBA was at a point where they were close to, I don't want to say failing, but it was a product that wasn't doing what they wanted it to do. And Magic Johnson and Larry Bird came into the league, really, really special players, great personalities, and it added a sense of drama. Magic was a college champion. I think he beat Larry Bird in the championship in college. So once they got to the NBA, it was really like, let's follow their careers. Let's see what happens. So we followed Magic Johnson and Larry Bird up with Michael Jordan. Just a great transition. You go from Jordan to really, I would say it's like a golden era in the 80s and 90s into the early 2000s. And we go right from Jordan to Kobe, Allen Iverson, Shaq. I mean, just these names that are legendary. And then we get the King James. Like I said, he's been league leader, top 10 player, top 5 player for the last 20 years. Just somebody that you have to watch almost every single game that he plays. And with him coming to the end of his career, I'll transition to one more player from LeBron to Steph Curry. Steph Curry introduces the 3-point, not introduces the 3-point shot, but he makes the 3-point shot more popular.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've noticed now, I saw Steph do an interview and he said, they asked him about Klay Thompson. He's about to pass Reggie Miller for fifth all time in 3-point shots. And when Steph Curry passed Reggie Miller was number 2. So it really caught Steph off guard because he's like, damn, when I passed Reggie, he was number 2. Reggie's number 5 now, and he's about to be number 6. So it just shows you how the game has changed and evolved, from Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Jordan, Shaq, AI, LeBron to Steph. And now we see what it is now. You put up a great post, that got a lot of traction, and it just showed the shots taken, I think, from the 1990 to this past year. And it almost looked fake. It almost looked like a video game. Like, if I'm playing a video game, I'm going to take a 3 and I'm going to go dunk because those are the shots that I'm going to get. But that's not what we were doing in the 90s. I'll mention one other player that's a really big player, Kevin Durant. He talked about scoring 30 points when he first got into the league versus scoring 30 points now. And he said it's so much easier to score 30 points now compared to when he first got in the league, where you had to really bang, and the coaches were calling the game a little bit different. So we've seen high scoring games back in the day, but it's just a matter of how the pace that we're playing at. The defense, the defense is not good. It's especially in the regular season. That's why the playoffs become a lot more exciting.
Yeah,
Um, and injuries. That'll probably be the last thing I talk about. The injuries. You have Joel Embiid on the 76ers. I don't even know how many games he's played this season, but he's already out of contention to be an MVP. The
and the
season
season
just
just
started.
started basically.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
season just started. So, who are the top players? We have a Anthony Edwards, we have a Jokic, we have Shea Gilgeous. I watched the NBA Cup the other night with Giannis. Giannis was really good, but Shea Gilgeous, who's supposed to be an MVP runner, he was not exciting. It wasn't really fun watching him. Again, if you're a fan, you'll enjoy watching these, but I'm a fan of basketball. I wasn't impressed. And again, I think that's coming off of LeBron and Kobe and Jordan. Those guys you could watch all day long because
hmm
there's a poetry to the game, there's an aggression to their game. There's and maybe not. I'm not gonna say maybe not LeBron, because LeBron definitely has that. He doesn't have the killer instinct that Jordan and Kobe have, but and we don't have to get into the LeBron Jordan debate yet.
So
But 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 yeah, there's just a lot of people compare it to college, or I'll say this, even the WNBA. I watched a lot of the WNBA over the last season, and their game was a lot more interesting. It was a lot more up and down. It didn't feel like they cared what the score was. It felt like they were playing hard to the from the beginning of the whistle to the end of the whistle, to the quarter was over or whatever. And it just doesn't feel like that in the NBA. You see the All-Star game, it looks like nobody cares about it. It's a glorified like pickup run,
yeah,
and people are like, pickup runs even look better than this. So
yeah,
uh, so there's definitely a problem with the pace of play, with the shots. The players are definitely more athletic. They're taller, they're bigger, they're more athletic, but what's the talent look like? Um, you know, again, I'm watching the Cup game. It just wasn't exciting. It wasn't a good game. Giannis was exciting because he was dominating, and he is that one of the players that's really athletic and dominant and skilled. You add Damian Lillard to that team, they become fun to watch. But you want to see them go deep in the playoffs, which they didn't do last year. So it's kind of like the teams that you think are going to be good are getting beat early, and that kind of leaves you like, well, who's good and who's not good, and why we have a lot of blowouts in these games. Teams are losing by 20, 30 points. We see it in the NFL too. Some of these games are just not watchable anymore. I don't know if it's the
yeah.
refs adding into it, but if the game is, you know, t- a team is up 20, 30 points, it's just not a fun game to watch because it's no competition. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think those are all great points there. I think to your point, I think what you're trying to lament here basically is the product just isn't as potent as it once was during peak times. Like you said, the NBA was on the brink of going under, and Magic and Bird revived it. Jordan took it to another level and opened the door for international play, because international players were not really in the NBA like that until after the Dream Team blew everybody out in that Olympic run. And like you mentioned, after Jordan left, they were looking for the next face. And Iverson, Tracy McGrady, Tim Duncan, Shaq, Kobe, even young LeBron. They took over, and they really expanded the popularity of the league. Worldwide. You had more international players, like I mentioned earlier, with Dirk Nowitzki and Luca now, and the Joker. Winning multiple MVPs. So it definitely expanded, but it was kind of like when Starbucks first opened and they expanded too quickly. And now they're running around trying to keep everything open versus expanding organically. But one of my things when it comes to the state of basketball right now for me is overall the product is just not good. Steph Curry, we want to blame him, but it is what it is. He changed the game. He was one of the first people to shoot from 40, 50 feet like it was nothing, and it completely revolutionized the game. And now all teams shoot three pointers. I can't freaking stand it. It gets on my nerves. It's really showing that the coach has no creativity because everybody can't shoot threes. Now the Boston Celtics, they're a great 3-point team. The Mavericks, you can make an argument now that they got Clay. The Warriors, they still got Steph. But certain teams who have big men heavy, like the Bucks, for example, they're not a 3-point shooting team. I don't follow the NBA like that much anymore ever since Kobe passed. But even up until that point, I was only just watching Kobe because I was sick and tired of seeing the game go where it's going. I would say the one and done rule in college has destroyed the development of these players. They're coming into the NBA half baked, and also they're young. And the NBA is a grown man's league, so like all the teams that are winning have players 28 years and older. All the young teams that got 19, 20, 21-year olds on their team, they're not doing anything against grown men. And like I said, they're already half baked when it comes to a development standpoint. Because if you look at the grid, go check us out on Brodie Sports Talk on TikTok, and you guys will see we're over 4,500 views on that as well. It's a grid that basically shows the evolution of the sport. In the early 80s and 90s, you had, your 3-point shots around the perimeter, but most of the game was mid-range and in. You had your big mans posting up. You had your 2 and your 3 guards doing a bunch of 10 to 15-foot jump shots via post game or jab step, one dribble, whatever. But now every single position is beyond the 3-point line. I'm like, who's going to get the rebound, number one? And like, why is your center? I get now the NBA has evolved from an athletic standpoint. You got stretch 4s and stretch 5s. I get that now. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you got a 7-foot guy shooting threes when he should be down there getting rebounds. And I can see, again, if they're a 3-point shooting team. But there are some teams out there that can't shoot the three worth a lick. They're like 19, 20% from the field, and they're still chucking up threes. And it was one highlight. It was the Charlotte game with the
LaMelo
youngest
Ball
Ball brother.
yeah.
And he did 2 lob passes in a row. But he did one lob. They inbounded the ball, came down. The dude literally ran to the corner and did a run and jump fadeaway 3-point shot, contested with like 2, 3 Bamas on him. And then LaMelo got the joint and went down and did another lob. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
So like too much 3-point shooting. I'm sick of that. And like I said, you got players coming in too young because of the one and done rule. They're coming in undeveloped. All they're focused on is athletic finishes at the basket or 3-point shot. That's all they do. They don't even focus on free throws anymore. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you can tell that they're trying to create new things to keep it interesting. You ever watch a sitcom that was good for a few years, and then right before they had the last season or the last episode, they started adding random characters to the show to
And it's
try
like,
to boost the ratings?
Who are these niggas?
Yeah, that's what the NBA is now. Like they had a great run, and like you mentioned, LeBron has been the face of the NBA for 20 years, but it's only but so long until he retires. So they're trying to scramble and find a new face now. Ja Moron fucked it up, excuse me, with his gun charges. And Ant-Man is in a poor sports marketing market. He's going to have to leave. That's another thing I can't stand. You said what?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
One of the other things I can't stand is the hierarchy in basketball. All the big markets get all the big players. When they do trades for some odd reason, some team gets these players, but another team that has nothing to do with the trade loses players.
Mm-hmm.
The worst team doesn't get the first pick. I just hate the way the whole structure is made, and now this NBA Cup crap. They're trying to boost
Oh,
ratings. I don't like it. I see
yeah.
what they're trying to do, but it's stupid as hell. Shout out to Damian Lillard, that's finally considered a champion, even though it's a faux title. But that's just where I am with basketball, man. And like I said, ever since Kobe passed, I really don't pay attention until the playoffs because, to your point, that's when the competition tends to pick up. The All-Star game is a joke now. The dunk contest is a joke
Complete
now,
joke.
and
Hmm.
the three-point shot is actually the focal point of All-Star weekend, which is whack. So that's my two
Yeah.
cents.
And I was gonna add in because you made some great points there, Co. The one and done in college for sure is affecting the play. Like there are players again, KG, Kobe, LeBron. There are players that can come into the league, which is what we used to have, but it wasn't to this level. Again, LeBron making Bronny come out. I'm sorry, he needed to develop. It's not a knock on Bronny. It's
No,
just you got to develop.
and he only
It
had
was
1 year at the college level, and that was kind of
and he
forgiving
wasn't
because he was
and he
coming
wasn't
off
that
of
good.
a heart attack.
Yeah, and he wasn't that good in that first year. So that's again, we know what that is. That's LeBron just wanting to play with his son. Cool. It's a great story. He can still develop in the G League. All right, cool, whatever. But there's a lot of other guys that are leaving for no reason. Hopefully the NIL can help with that because now the players don't have to leave college to get money.
Yeah,
They can still get money in college.
yeah,
Some people do speak to the transfer portal, where in college they're not even at one college for all these years.
hmm,
So are you really developing, or are you just a free agent who's talent, guns for hire,
yeah,
and you're not really developing? You just are who you are. The one thing I was going to mention was the streaming and the cost of streaming.
hmm,
We see the same thing in the NFL. What channel am I watching for basketball? Is it on ESPN? Is it on TNT? Is it NBA TV? Do I have a subscription to these? Um, this will be another thing to kind of combat the streaming. Am I even watching TV anymore?
right,
I'm on my phone now. I'm looking at Instagram. Honestly, I'm looking
yeah,
at TikTok. I'm looking at whatever else it may be on my phone. So honestly, I'm not even watching the game because I'm really looking at my phone. And then again, like I said, I turn the game on and it's already a 20-point lead.
yeah,
It's not even grabbing my attention.
yeah,
So I think the cell phone definitely plays a part into it. But again, the product is not good enough to take my attention away. Because there have been games where I'll tune in and I'm like, okay, this is a good game.
hmm,
Um, but most of the games aren't good. The product's just not that great. And I don't want to spend another $10-15 to get NBA TV where I'm already paying 100 for YouTube. YouTube TV price just went up. I'm ready to cancel. Um, like I don't
yeah,
know where they think we have all this money coming from, but yeah, you have
yeah,
that. I think you mentioned the rebound. Let's talk about the product a little bit. You talked about the shooting. They have these guys that can't shoot. Lou Dort he's a great defender. They have him on the 3-point line shooting. Just because you're open does not mean you got to shoot the ball. When
yeah,
I was playing, I knew I wasn't the best shooter at every game. If you have a game where you're on, cool. But there's games where you're not on. If I get the ball and I'm open, if I'm gonna admit, Draymond Green said it best. The best shot for us is Steph Curry shooting. Draymond Green will get the ball wide open. He's gonna pass.
where's
That's why you
Steph?
can
Yep,
watch the Warriors because the Warriors are running a system that works for them. Like you said, the Celtics are running a system. The Celtics do shoot a lot, but they have good shooters. So it
yep,
makes sense. They have people that can penetrate, pause, and get to the hole and dish it out. They
yeah,
have a system, really good coaching. Um, so how many of these teams have good coaching? Then you have the young coaches like the JJ Redicks, Darvin Ham. There's a lot of first time coaches who it doesn't look like they know what they're doing. So, LeBron is kind of out there on the court. He's doing his own thing. And that's been a problem with LeBron. I don't want to say problem because he is good enough to do his own thing. But what's the point of a coach if he's learning on the job? It goes back to the college statement you made, Co. Kids aren't developing. Coaches aren't developing. So we have this product what we're looking at right now is an unfinished product. We really need this product to sit and bake, put it back in the oven. Let's take it out and look at it again. And then one more point, the analytics. I said it about the NFL. If the analytics don't understand the game and how the game is supposed to be played, the analytics are going to ruin the game. Because if you're telling me a player like KD shouldn't be taking a mid-range shot, you're crazy. That's one of the things that he does well. If you're telling me again, a player like Lou Dort should only take a 3-point shot, it's gonna be an easier shot the closer you get. Start shooting that mid-range. Pump fake at the 3, step in and take another shot. Like, you don't have to only shoot the 3.
Right.
2 points is better than no points.
Bro, I actually, one of the people that commented on on the post on TikTok was like, well, would you rather take a long 2? And I was like, well, dude, would you rather take a 2-point basket or a missed 3-point shot? Like, I'd rather take 2 dunks or 2 layups over 1 3-point shot, and like, there's so many other things, like, just that makes me sound like an old head. Like, one of the biggest things that I can
Get off my
appreciate
lawn.
now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I can appreciate for, like, the old heads that watched football and how they complain about how the rules are being called now and how they're taking certain plays out to, benefit the offense, or, calling, plays when you do excessive hitting or something like that. Like, the old head football players, like, oh, I don't want to watch it no more. I feel like that when it comes to basketball. I'm an old head now. 3 steps is a freaking travel. Okay, if you freaking dribble the ball and put 2 hands on it and dribble it again, that's a double dribble. Okay, if you freaking flop in the air and no one touched you, like little stuff like that. You got people like LeBron James or the Claw, Kawhi Leonard, and a host of other players making millions of dollars. And these people who pay hard-earned money to come see them, and they're on load management. How dare you? How dare you? That's why I appreciated Kobe. Like, this dude had a torn ACL and walked off the damn court.
And came back on to shoot a free throw.
With no one helping him. Now, I'm not sure to say you got to be a deranged maniac like him. But at the same time, it's like, brother, understand that some people, this may be the first time that they may ever get to see you. And you're on the bench in some sweats with like 4 chains on and some glasses indoors. It's an insult. The players have gotten too entitled. The inmates are running the jail. Anytime a coach gets fired because a player didn't want him there, or anytime a player influenced who comes there and not the actual GM, that's a problem. And then you got all-time greats that don't want to participate in old traditional things. Like, LeBron James is arguably one of the greatest dunkers I've ever seen. And for him to never do the dunk contest is a kick in the nuts.
It's unforgivable, man. It's unforgivable.
It's unforgivable, bro.
I'm going to bring that up every time.
Russell Westbrook's another one.
But it starts with LeBron, because Jordan did it, Kobe did it. And once LeBron said no, it was like, bro, you really just took the fun, you took the magic and the fun out of it and made it about the money, or you made it about something else. And I'm gonna say, I think LeBron is gonna regret that. I think LeBron is gonna look back and say,
already.
Yeah, I think he's gonna look back on that one and say, man, I should have just, because it's for the love of the game. It's supposed to be for the love of the game.
He wouldn't have won.
Yeah, he would have won, and I think that's where LeBron again. Man, like, I'm only doing this because I'm comparing them to Jordan and Kobe. This doesn't go, it doesn't matter about anybody else. This is where the love of the game comes in. This is where, LeBron sometimes gets too into his head. And it's like, bro, fuck all that.
Yeah.
Go take somebody's head off. Like, you're one of the, like you said, you're one of the best dunkers in the world. All you got to do is, what did Jordan do? He just jumped from the free throw line. Like, when you go back and look at some of those old dunk contests, the dunks weren't crazy,
No,
But then
they
when
were
you
just showing how
see,
high he can get or how long he can stay in the air.
yeah, exactly. So it's like it's just something like that. And when you put it in slow motion, you can appreciate the poetry, you can appreciate the
Yeah,
athleticism. And when you take the fun out of the game, when you make it about like you mentioned the referees, when the referees aren't refereeing, like what's the product? I don't want to see somebody traveling down the floor when I know it's a travel, especially if I'm putting my money on it. And I think
yeah,
that's maybe that'll be my last point. Again, people are betting on these games. It's nothing that makes somebody more upset than having their money on the game and not seeing it come out in a fair way. If LeBron travels, call it. I don't care that he's got an open dunk. If he's traveling, call it. Russell Westbrook just did it. It was a highlight on the NBA website and all that. He got a steal, he got a dunk. It was a travel. Call the damn call. Like that's gonna make me respect the game more. That's gonna have me like because this listen, these are professional athletes. This is what they get paid to do. Like you said, they
yeah.
get paid hard earned money for this. I'm spending my hard earned money, whether it's on the streaming service, whether it's me going to the game physically. I want to see a good product, and a good product is a product that is regulated and refereed and yeah, it's not a good product. I mean, I don't want to just bash, but that's kind of the point of it is what can they do to make it better? And I think I just saw them say they're gonna redo the All Star game format.
For like a
We don't,
fourth time.
yeah, we don't need a new. All we just need them to compete. That's it.
It's
Just
like
go
I
out
think
there
they're
and
making a
compete.
playoff in the All-Star game.
Three different teams of four or something. It was like they asked KD what he thought about it. He said it's stupid. It's dumb
Yeah,
as hell. Like what are we doing here, man? And I think we'd be much better off if we did. Somebody said I saw somebody say this in the comments. The USA versus the world. If
yeah,
you do USA versus the world, that's like the Olympics. You saw how exciting the Olympics were. The
yeah,
Olympics, that was good basketball. That was
yeah. I enjoyed
competition.
that because it was
That
it was
we
top tier competition. You
and the
know,
players cared. You could see that they cared about it. LeBron was playing his ass off. Steph was hitting some unbelievable shots. Wembenyama for France is just doing incredible stuff. That was good basketball. And then to go from that back to this product, it's like, what is this? This is not. So again, hopefully when the playoffs come around, we get it looks better. But the regular season, is it too many games, Cole? Do you
I was
think
just about to say that
82
too.
is too
It's
many
it's
games?
it's a lot of games, man. And you know, when you flood the market with it, it destroys the demand. And I can see if the games were played like on a consistent schedule like the NFL. You know the games are going to come on Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday in the late
Listen, the
December.
NFL is kind of getting a little crazy with it too, man.
But
But it
they're
is
not effing up
consistent.
the time zones. They got games
Yeah,
starting at 11 o'clock, bro, on a Tuesday. Who the hell's
yeah,
gonna stand up and watch that on a school night?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like when I was a kid, I grew up watching Jordan and Kobe. We grew up watching Jordan and Kobe. And Kobe obviously is on the West Coast. So I literally had to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning to
True.
watch him play. And now that
That's a
I'm
good point.
older, I'm not doing that shit no
Yeah,
more.
that's a good
You
point.
know, like it's even if it's a Friday, LeBron, Lakers, Warriors, Friday, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
No, I'm not. I'm
I'm going
not.
to sleep.
I'm going to sleep, bro. I got to work tomorrow. You know, so
So are basketball fans aging out? Would you say that? Like, are we not replacing? Because I think, like you said, when we were in high school, we were watching basketball. But again, we weren't on our phones. We weren't distracted with social media. Well, as young men, we had sports and maybe video games, and we weren't playing video games all day. So we really were watching sports. I don't know that we're replacing the fans with the young fans, so we might really just be aging out, and this
our
just may
generation
be a
is.
yeah, this might be a changing of the guard. I know a lot of younger kids are watching soccer. I'm not sure what the soccer numbers are looking like to compare, but But yeah, the NBA just might really be losing fans because we're aging out. And like you said, I can't remember the last time I stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning to watch a game.
Yeah.
11, 12 o'clock. Like, nah,
Yeah,
no, I don't have
they got
time
to do
for it, man.
something. I mean, obviously the NBA ain't gonna go out of business, but they
No,
like their ratings have not been that good. And to your point with LeBron's longevity, people are tired of seeing him too. Like I love LeBron James. I mean, he's number 3 on my all time list. But I'm tired of seeing him play. To be quite honest, I'm tired, and
I've seen him play
no. Let me
at the
rephrase. I'm
level
not
that he's
tired of
at.
seeing him play. I'm sick and tired of every other game they got another faux stat for this dude. I'm sick of that. Like every
LeBron
other game, they
stats.
come up with a stat for this dude.
Yeah,
Like LeBron James breaks the all-time record for most free throw fadeaways in a fourth quarter.
yeah.
Who's keeping
It's
these
like,
freaking
yeah.
stats?
Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. So, Brodies, let us know what you think. The NBA season is starting to really pick up now since I think we're almost to the halfway point. But let us know what you think. If the NBA losing attraction, what should they do? To bring more viewers back. And we definitely appreciate you liking and sharing. Go to Brody Sports Talk on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, and like and share. But moving on and transitioning back into football here, we got our games of the week with our recap and review. So right now, what we're looking at here, I'm 16 and 12. Wiggs is at 18 and 10. Still 2 games behind. We got a few more games left here. But to go over the recap with the Rams and Niners, I chose the Rams. Wiggs got the Niners, so I got that one. We both were correct on the Commanders over the Saints. And then we split with the no, you chose the Lions too, right?
I chose the Lions. Yep.
Yeah, we both were wrong on the Lions, and then we split with the Steelers and Eagles. I chose the Steelers, and you chose the Eagles. Um, I mean, starting off with the Rams and Niners game, the defenses, man. It was a great defensive game. Like that's another thing with like the past happy era that we're in. People don't appreciate a good defensive game anymore. Like they blame the quarterback. Like no, this was a good defensive game. It's a division rival, so it made it even more intense. So I enjoyed it, man. It was on prime time. But the only thing I would say shout out to the BAN that walked off on his team when they needed him the most. You know,
Devondre Campbell, I think is his
Devondre,
name.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like I can see they were getting blown out. I can see.
man.
I can't even justify it. Like, brother,
Yeah,
we
no, it's no
paying you to do a
justification for
job.
that.
You lost the
Yeah,
job because you weren't performing, and then when we need you, you walk out on us and leave us high and dry. Now, I don't know what you're thinking. I'm gonna stick it to them. I'm really gonna show them. Well, brother, you
yeah,
just stuck yourself out of a multi-million-dollar
yeah,
contract, and I think you need to, make sure you get on Indeed because UPS is hiring because you're out of the league, bro. No one's gonna bring you in.
yeah. And the 49ers, they said they're not going to release him. They're just going to suspend him without pay, so he can't get another job right away, and he
That's
won't
a
get his
smart
money.
move because if
So
they cut them, they're going to have to deal with the dead cap money. They're not going to do that. So they're like, well, we're just not going
exactly.
to pay you, but we're going to keep you on the roster. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, like that's a real penalty. So yeah, like you said, and again, we got these things that overshadow the game. It's unfortunate because that was the biggest story that came out of this game, and like you said, this was a really good defensive game. Um, these were two really. I like Brock Purdy. I like Matthew Stafford, but that's not what the story was. We could have talk about Kyron Williams. He had a really good game. I think I want to say he had like 29 rushes for 108 yards. Again, and I talk about the Rams and Sean McVay. For me, this was a really good coaching matchup, and I would have loved to see Christian McCaffrey in this matchup because
Yeah.
that's again that's what Shanahan does is that stretch run,
Yep.
and nobody does it better than Christian McCaffrey. So them losing him, Jordan Mason, and I think Garindo went down as well.
Yep.
So the 49ers were just a little unfortunate as far as that's concerned. But Matthew Stafford, we talked about him for the last couple of weeks. He's a winner. He's a Super Bowl champion.
That's a cold white
Um,
boy, man.
yeah, Sean McVay is a really good coach, and they have talent. They got Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nakua. Puka is just Puka, I'm not gonna say Puka doesn't get enough credit, but he's really good. He's a big body. He's fast. He makes
He's the
plays
number
when
one
they need him.
receiver on any other team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Puka's really, really good. He had a lot of good plays. Like I said, Kyron Williams had 29 rushes. I love to see what I say. If I'm running on Madden, I want to see my running back have 24 carries. For him to get 29, that means they had an identity. They had a game plan. They came in, they executed the game plan. And again, when you run the ball that many times, you're taking the ball out of the opponent's hand. The 49ers only had 6 points. A big part of that is time of possession. If the Rams are running the ball, you're going to control the clock. And that's what they did. Again, I picked the 49ers. I'm just disappointed in the season that they're having. I think I mentioned last week that the 49er fans were saying they weren't happy with Kyle Shanahan. And I mentioned that last week. And then you saw what happened with Devondre Campbell. And there might be trouble in paradise.
Yeah,
You have the Devondre Campbell incident. I'll go back to the I think it's Nick Bosa. I'm not sure if it's Nick Bosa or Joey Bosa. I want to say
I think it's
Joey
Nick
Bosa.
Bosa.
I think it is Nick Bosa that plays
Yeah,
for the 49ers. Um, the incident where he came up with the MAGA hat after the game, the 49ers haven't been the same since that incident. And I'm not sure if the same thing happened a couple years ago when he did it, but it wasn't to this extent. The 49ers, I don't think they're making the playoffs. And again, I don't know what that locker room looks like when you openly come out and do something. Again, we're not going to get too political and I support this or I support that. That really doesn't matter right now. But to be the same team that Colin Kaepernick was on, we know how big of a deal it was when Cap, decided to do something that was political or just, wasn't about football. That's not the team you want to do that on. And I'm
yeah,
sure that affected the locker room. And then the Devondre Campbell thing, that had to affect the locker room as well. And I don't know. If I was the 49ers, I would definitely try to keep Shanahan. But I think they need another coach to come in there that can just kind of bring some unity back. You see on the Eagles, there's a guy called Dom on the Eagles.
hmm
He's not even a coach,
he's
but
like he's like a peacemaker.
he's like a peacemaker slash like firecracker. He's got like the and Nick Sirianni is a firecracker as well, but it's that passion.
Yeah,
Shanahan doesn't really have that passion. He's kind of more of an X's and O's, kind of like a Mike McDaniel for the Dolphins. These are guys that are really smart. They're more nerdy than they
yeah,
are passionate coaches. And I think right now you got to have a passionate coach. You look at the Lions, Dan Campbell, who did I just mention? Nick Sirianni. These are passionate coaches, and you can see the team respond to them. So if you have that, I don't think they have that, and I think that played a big part. And Sean McVay for the Rams, he's a
yeah.
passionate coach. He was fired up at the end of that game, and I love seeing stuff like that. So, yeah, that was a good game. I picked the 49ers. So I've been picking against the Rams. I got to stop doing that because they're a
They're,
good team.
they're a good team, man. They got a good defense, and their offense is just as potent. So we got to make sure that we continue to win because they're a game
They're
behind
on
us.
our
We can't
heels.
afford to lose, and
Yep.
that's a good transition into the review for the Commanders and Saints game. It was an ugly win. I'll take
Yep.
an ugly win over a pretty loss any day. Uh, Desmond Ritter and company almost pulled a comeback on us. I think one thing that I think the biggest thing that almost cost us the game is that Cliff Kingsbury got too pass happy. That's another thing that Shanahan has an issue of doing. They get too pass happy when they should just run the damn ball.
Let me
You
jump in
know?
right here, Co.
Yeah.
Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for Dan Quinn in Atlanta when they lost that Super Bowl 28-3.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the remnants in this last game. You saw the remnants of that because again, we had the lead 17-0 in the third quarter. 28-3, 17-0. By the fourth quarter, we should be running that clock down. And one of my guys on on the radio here. I can't remember his name, but in the morning on 106.7, he mentioned we
The
were
sports
running the clock
junkies?
down. What's that?
You talking about the sports junkies?
Sports junkies. Yep. They mentioned the fact that we were running the clock down to like 6 or 7. He's like, run it down to 1 or 2. What? Bro, that 5 seconds for every play, 5 seconds adds up.
Yep.
And the game came down to, I think they had 3 seconds left on that last play. If we're running down 5 seconds on every down, it's gonna add up. So I'm gonna go to coaching on that game. Like you said, it was sloppy, and I'll let you get back to your point. But yeah, that coaching to me was a big part of that game. I don't think the coaches had our team ready to play versus Saints.
I don't think they anticipated them to come play as hard as they did. They thought it was going to be,
An easy win.
an easy win because they're a depleted team. But it's any given Sunday, they're still a pro team, and I love the confidence in Jaden Daniels. As you can see, he got it done. I mean, we still won, but it was a game we should have blown them out in. Like we were up 14-0. They got away from the run and they just got super pass happy. And it's not like they're calling a variety of plays. They kept calling the same plays. Like, how many times are you going to do a pop pass or a hook and lateral type pass or a screen pass? Go downfield. You only took three shots. One of them was a pass interference. If you watch the tape, one was overthrown, one was underthrown. So actually, no, one was dropped. Terry dropped
I was
that
gonna
one that
say
was
Terry
slightly
dropped one.
overthrown.
Yep, I was gonna say
But
that. Yeah,
he threw for 30 times, 30 attempts. That's not bad, but Jaden right now doesn't need to throw 30 times a game. He needs to
not
stay
with
within
Brian
that 20
Robinson
to
in the game.
25 range.
Yep.
And your boy Robinson, he needs to be getting at least 15 or 20 touches a game. McNichols, what's his name? Rodriguez, like
Yeah.
they weren't even a part of the game plan. And I think some of these nerdy coordinators like Mike McDaniels, Kyle Shanahan, Cliff Kingsbury, Ben Johnson, to a certain extent, they try to get too cute and they outthink themselves. They're like, oh, what exotic play can I call now? Instead of just calling a simple run play. It's 3rd and 1, dude. Like, you don't need to do all this motion and all this other crap. Just stick to the script, run the damn ball. It's not that difficult, but again, you're going to have your ugly wins. I mean, the Chiefs, a bulk of their wins this year have been all ugly, but they're still wins. So I'm
Let me
definitely,
ask you about the defense, Coach. What do you
yeah.
think of Marshawn Lattimore in the defense in this game?
So I think it's unfair to judge because you had a bunch of backup quarterbacks that were told to not go to his side, most likely. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't even look his way,
They
man.
didn't even look his way. They're not even going to look his way. He probably sunned them in practice a few times, and they were scared. But in Philly, that's not going to happen. They're going to take shots on him. Like he's
And they
probably
got
going to
the
guard
receivers
AJ
to do
Brown,
it.
and they're going to take their shots. So we'll get a true test next week. But I
That's a
mean,
good
it's
point.
good to know that you have a shutdown corner. Now you can do other things. You can add more people in the box. You can be more creative with your stunts and with your blitzes and with your zone packages when you have a guy that's traveling. And most teams only have that one alpha wide receiver, and if he's traveling and locking them down, that just makes us more potent. Like right now, we're number 12 in yards allowed.
Wow.
Now that's a fugazi stat,
It
but
is
that's
a little
still
bit.
something to consider. Like we don't give up a lot of yards, mainly because we dominate the time of possession. So that's really the attributing factor to that. But when it comes to our run defense and our pass defense per DVOA, we're in the bottom 20s. So I think with Lattimore now, I think we should see an uptick. But again, we're beating teams we're supposed to beat. We haven't really beat a team with a winning record so far. You can include the Cardinals if you want. They have a winning record now, but they didn't when we played them. Joe Burrow was the only good quarterback that we played outside of Kyler Murray to a certain extent, and Lamar, of course. But we haven't beaten any winning teams. So this week against the Eagles, that's going to be the test because if we can't beat no winning teams, we're going to be one and done in the playoffs. So, but again, I'll take an ugly win over a pretty loss.
For sure.
We got the Bills and Lions, man. I think that was the game of the week last week.
Wow.
I love a good shootout. We were wrong. The Lions defense is just depleted, man, and it showed.
Mm,
Their offense is great. I mean, they put up 42 points on an average week. They should win, but their defense is that bad now because of all the injuries. And honestly, NFC wise, they might not be the best team in the NFC now going into the playoffs, but Josh Allen, I think, locked up with the MVP with that performance. You know, they shit on running backs, so it don't matter if Saquon hits 2,000. They'll just give him
yeah.
Offensive Player of the Year, but not MVP, which is a complete kick in the nuts. Um, and then the Steelers, man, the Steelers continue that streak of not beating the Eagles since 1965. They got to wait another year or two or whenever they get on the schedule. Um, they lost T.J. Watt. I don't know if he's gone for the season, but he got injured in the Eagles game, so I don't know how that's going to affect. And then Pickens is still out, so their run as far as like that dominance these past few weeks might be over, and I think this might be the prime opportunity for the Ravens to take over.
So, do you have the Eagles number one right now in the NFC code? Because you said the Lions might not be number one anymore. Are you putting the Eagles ahead of them?
In the NFC, I would
Yeah.
probably say yeah,
Okay.
just because the Eagles defense is just that damn good, man. Uh,
Yes.
Arguably the best defense in the league. So, yeah, man, and like the Bills, they got a potent offense, but their defense is trash too. They gave up
Yeah.
42 points.
Yeah.
These past two games, they've given up 86 points. So it's just
Yeah.
that their quarterback is just playing lights out right now. He can't be stopped. But
Yeah. I don't know that I'm giving Josh Allen MVP
just yet,
just
you don't
yet.
think so?
Just yet. Listen, who was the first person to call it, Co? I think this was the first week, one of the first 2 weeks we were doing the show. I think I mentioned Josh Allen was going to have a good week and he was going to put himself in the conversation, and he did just that. But I said it at the time. I thought Lamar was still in place. I think Lamar is still in place. I think what gives Josh Allen the lead, I will give him the lead, is the fact that he's two games ahead of Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
And they beat some really good teams. For the Bills to beat the Lions and the Chiefs, that says a lot about Josh Allen. And for the Ravens to have the losses that they've had, they had some really bad losses. I think that is what puts Allen above. But the Bills could have some bad losses in these next 3 weeks. The season isn't
Yeah,
over. I know some people are like, "Oh, it's over, it's over." I wouldn't say it's over. I would say Allen is in the lead, but not by a lot. Like some people are
yeah,
like, "Oh, it's not even." The numbers right now, I think he's like minus 900, and Lamar is like plus 500. It's not that far off, in
yeah.
my opinion. It's a lot closer than that. But I
One
would give
bad game
Allen
and
the
a
lead.
loss for Josh Allen can switch the
Yeah,
dynamic for Lamar.
for sure,
Um,
for sure.
but yeah, that's the recap there, Brody's. Moving on to week 16. We got a couple of great matches up here. So starting with the Thursday game, we got the Broncos at the Chargers. Um, I like this matchup. This is going to be more so of a coaching matchup. You know, Peyton versus Harbaugh. Very exciting to see what these two minds can do from a cerebral standpoint. But the Chargers defense has been struggling recently. Ever
Yeah.
since the Bills put up some numbers on them, and then Baker Mayfield came out there and gave them an ass waxing. Like, I mean, that I
Yeah,
wasn't expecting
he beat
that.
on them. He beat on
So,
them. And I think with J.K. Dobbins being out, again, that goes to that time of possession. You lose
yep,
your running back. It's not always the defense. I think one of the best things you can do for a defense is give your team a good running back. You see it
yeah,
with the Commanders. When Brian Robinson's in the game, it makes our defense look better because we're controlling the clock. The defense doesn't have to be on the field as much. And I think with the Chargers losing J.K. Dobbins, that's really hurt them
yeah,
and
I
the
agree.
defense.
So, with that, I'm taking the Broncos over the Chargers. Who you got?
You going with Bo Nix, huh? Man, Bo Nix is at 9 wins. Same as Jaden. That's very impressive for Bo Nix. And I like the Broncos defense. Oh man, this is tough. Oh man, cause this is a tough one. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I'm gonna split this one. I'll give you a chance to see if you can come back.
All
So
right.
let's split this one because I do like Justin Herbert. I think he's good. I think they have Lab McConkey. They still have some pieces. Um, so I think the Chargers have a chance. And again, like you said, they got waxed last week. Baker Mayfield came in there and just beat on them. So I think this week they're going to try to bounce back. That's something I like to see in the NFL is teams that can bounce back. I like Harbaugh over Sean Payton, so I'm gonna go Harbaugh
All
over Payton.
right. So we splitting that one. Next, we have is the Saturday game, Texans at Chiefs. Now, this is up in the air because we don't know if Mahomes is going to start. I'm gonna start calling him Patrick Loose Ankle Mahomes.
The loosest
Um,
ankles in America, man.
like, oh my gosh, bro! Like this dude gets a high ankle sprain every year. It's
It
so
feels
funny.
like it. It feels like it.
But CJ Stroud is having a sophomore slump.
Yes.
It's a dome team, and they're playing in Kansas City in December. And however, if Mahomes doesn't play, Carson Wentz is the backup. Okay. They may have
Yeah,
Pacheco
that's a
have a
B
career
word right
day.
there.
They might give the ball to Pacheco like 30, 40 times. But my gosh, man. I like Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a genius. And I think he's a better coach. And I think he may find a way to make it work. Give me the Chiefs over the Texans.
I like that pick. I like that pick. I like Andy Reid. I love Andy Reid. Andy Reid is, I mean, as Mike Tomlin and Andy Reid for me, these are the coaches of that I when I look back on, these past 10 years, 10 plus years, I'm probably going to look at Mike Tomlin and Andy Reid as the two best coaches of our generation. And I like what Andy Reid does with his backups. One thing about Carson Wentz got to play for the Commanders under Eric Bieniemy,
Yeah.
so he probably knows that playbook really, really well. I think he's going to step in. He's not going to be Mahomes, but this offense hasn't been good. The Chiefs have been winning with their defense. They've been winning with clock management, game management, time of possession. I think they can do that again. And like you said, CJ Stroud is not. He's not. He's not. He's having a sophomore slump. He's not looking as impressive as he was before. I think last week they only had 131 passing yards.
Yeah. It's not
Like
looking too good. They
it's
need, I
not
mean,
looking good at all.
I mean, it's growing pains. It's the sophomore year. I
Yeah.
mean, people are planning, they're game planning against him now. They've had a
Mhm.
year of film review to see where his weaknesses are, and the defenses are just adjusting. It is what it is. The good news is they're still winning. They're still in contention to win the division. They're 9-5, so it's not like they're losing, but they're not winning in convincing fashion,
Yeah.
to say the least. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
But
cold. It's a you know what?
no, go ahead. I was gonna make my pick. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just saying, like it's cold. Like I said, it's a December game. It's a dome team. They're playing a great defense. Give me the Chiefs.
And I'm going to say I'm gonna go with the Texans because I like the Texans defense.
Their
Those
defense is
boys are
good. Yeah,
balling under D'Amico Ryans. They're not getting enough credit because we focus a lot on the quarterback play and things like that. But the Texans defense is really, really good. D'Amico
yeah,
Ryans as a coach is really, really good. And if CJ Stroud, if he finds anything, he's going to be good. I don't think he's going to find it this week against the Chiefs defense because the Chiefs defense is, I mean, they seem like they're getting better and better every week.
mm-hmm.
But if Carson Wentz is the starter, and I think he is because I don't see how you start Mahomes with the way his ankles are. It's just not worth it this week to
Yeah.
start him. The Chiefs can win if they have to go on. If they end up having to go on the road in the playoffs, I think they'll be all right.
I don't think there any real risk of losing the number one seed. They're 13-1. I
I
don't think
think the
there's
only
any. I
team
think they
that's
got the best
close,
record so far.
they do right now. I think the only team that's close are the Bills, but they still will have to lose 2 games because the Bills have
Yeah,
the tiebreaker. That's the only thing that
That's
puts the
true.
Bills in close to them. So they can afford to lose this week and still control their own destiny. So I think this week they're going to sit Mahomes, and I think Carson Wentz is he's close to a B word. So I think,
Close.
hey, I
Close.
mean, he's
Well,
a
unfortunately, he
he
wasn't on
might
the.
be the B
He's the B
word
word
instead of
now, but not when
he's
he
a
before his ACL tear. He was legit.
that's what I was gonna say. So he's the
Yeah,
B word. He's not the B word bust. He's the B word. He's a backup. I'll put
yeah.
him. He's that B word. He's a back. He's an official backup quarterback. Um, so I'm gonna go with the Texans on this one again. I'm gonna give you a chance to catch up, Co. I'm
All
gonna pick
right,
a couple of different games. So I'm gonna go with the Texans on this.
all right. So moving on, we got the 4:30 game on Saturday. We got a Steelers at Ravens. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I think the Steelers, I think their flash in the pan run is over. They got too many injuries on offense and defense. Still like Mike Tomlin, he's able to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. So they're still going to make the playoffs. But right now, I think the Ravens, I think they've kind of got their get back game against the Giants. So, I think Lamar Jackson, to your point, is still in the running for MVP. I'm gonna take the Ravens. They're home against the Steelers. I think Derrick Henry is probably going to get more touches this game. He didn't get too many last game. Ironically enough, in the first week of playoff football, thank God I had to buy. We'll get to that later. But I like the Ravens over the Steelers. It's I think it's their opportunity to take back to the division. What do you think?
All right, let me take a look at this. So and who won the first one? The Steelers won the first matchup, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so the Steelers won the first matchup. So the Ravens are not. They're gonna take this game a little bit more serious. I feel like Lamar is definitely. Um, I think after the bye week, Lamar came back. He had 5 touchdowns last week. I think Lamar is definitely serious about getting a chip this year. And I think that starts with beating the teams. Again, just the Ravens are too talented, in my opinion, that they need to be winning. I don't see anybody beating the Ravens. So, in my opinion, if they lose, they're not in a good place. So I don't see them. I don't see them losing until the Super Bowl and until the AFC Championship. Let me not go Super Bowl until the AFC Championship. I think the Ravens are going to win out. So I'm
Okay.
gonna go with the Ravens as well. Like you said,
Okay.
the Steelers are just missing too much. I really, really like the Steelers defense, but you take T.J. Watt out of that defense, just like taking Aiden Hutchinson off of the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
You're just missing too many pieces. Those are dynamic players on defense, um, and Lamar is just too good. Uh, Derrick Henry, I think Derrick Henry is actually not gonna have the best game just because they're not gonna rush him enough. Harbaugh, I don't know what you're doing, but Lamar is good, so I guess you're gonna put it in his hands and let him do it. And I think he is gonna get this one this week. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
All right. And to cap things off, we got the Eagles at Commanders. Now, I did say previous episodes that I think we would split, but I don't feel that way anymore. I think the Eagles are going to sweep us, man. I hate to say it.
Well, you
We
did
have
say
a
we
better
might play
chance
three
of winning.
times.
You
You
know
did say
what?
we might play 3 times. The Eagles and Commanders. You did
Yeah,
say that
we
too.
might face them in the first round of the playoffs because if they don't get the first round bye.
Hmm.
But yeah, the Eagles are just too good, man. Like their defense is great. Jalen Hurts came out, with the Kango hat, with the blinged out chain. Saying, "Is this what you want? Are you happy
That's what y'all
now?"
wanted, huh? That's what y'all wanted,
That's what
huh?
y'all wanted, huh?
Hey, I
I was
like
like,
that. I like
hey,
that.
Jalen, you know what, man? You all right with me, brother. You all
Hey,
right with me. And stunning on him with that chain. He
standing
was
on
like,
them with the
look, not
hey,
only am I balling, I'm balling too. Y'all broke ass niggas. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Sit
hey.
here and record what I say and and put your shades on because that boy was iced out. He made it a point to put that chain on. He made a decision before he left the house. He was like, what am I gonna wear post game?
Hey, and they beat the Steelers too. So like,
Yeah.
He came in that game confident. So yeah, man.
And he talked about how he looked up to Russell Wilson. So like, to
I
play
love that.
against him, he had to bring his A game.
Yeah.
So, the defense is stout, defense travels. Their offense seems to be back on track from a passage standpoint. Their running game is still consistent. And again, coming off that ugly win against the Saints, if we play like that against the Eagles next week, we're going to get duskied. It's not going to look good because when we're playing good teams, we're not good enough in certain areas to make stupid mistakes. Like if we're up by 10 with a few minutes to go in a quarter or in a half or whatever, we can't be getting false starts, on first and 10. We can't be getting holding calls while we're in the red zone. Or what I've also noticed with Jaden, he backs up instead of stepping up into the pocket when there's pressure, and he takes unnecessary sacks. 8 of those sacks last week, I'd say about 3 or 4 of them were on him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually been his knock even at LSU. And I mean, he'll grow
Mm-hmm.
out of that eventually, but little things like that. Yeah. So I hate to say it, but we're going to get swept, but I don't care because we're going to beat the Falcons and we're going to beat the Cowboys and we're going to finish 11-7. So I
And we
mean, yeah,
control our
eleven and
own
six.
destiny, I believe.
Yeah, 11-6. This is a game that we can afford to lose
Mm-hmm.
because we're one game ahead of the Rams. Now the Rams got the Jets this week, so that should be a win. So if we lose, we'll probably still hold on to the wild card spot via tiebreaker, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then from there, everything is must win. We can't lose to the Falcons. We damn sure can't lose to Dallas because I don't care what no one says. If we finish 9-8, I'm going to be very disappointed. So give me the Eagles over the Commanders. Who you got, Wiggs?
I'm going with the Eagles. I don't have to think about this one for a long time at all. One thing I like about the Eagles, they wanna win. Like they haven't won anything yet. They're not a championship team. They've been to the Super Bowl, but they lost.
Yeah.
And it wasn't last year. Sometimes those teams like the 49ers might be having a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles are already a year removed, so they're still hungry. They've got new players that want to win. You could just see the way that they got a lot of young players. That, like you said, the defense. I love this defense, man. I say it every week. I like Nick Sirianni, man. I just like his passion. And it's not always going to come out the right way. He had another sideline spat, and I think my guy Dom was in the middle of it between
That's
him
just
and
his
Jalen
style,
Carter.
baby. That's just his
That's
style.
that's his style, but I like it because it's football. This isn't baseball. This isn't basketball. Like this is in your face, smash mouth. Like it's an aggressive physical sport. That's the type of game it is. And when your coach is feeling that, when the players go out on the field, the players they're gonna let that energy out. So I love seeing a coach like Sirianni, and I like seeing them when his players are all bought in. Because if the players aren't bought in, it's not gonna work. But the players are bought in, so I love seeing what the Eagles are doing. And the Commanders, we're not there yet. This team is clearly better than us. Um, can we win this game? Yeah, we can. It's an any given Sunday league. We would have to play like A+ football to win. I don't think
Flawless.
we're I don't think we're at that place that we're playing A+ ball. We have a couple injuries that are now creeping in. I think Jeremy Chin and Zach Ertz are both dealing with some injuries. We lost. I don't know if Biotis is coming back, our center. That was
Yeah,
a
he's coming
big.
back. He was
Okay,
out because he was sick.
okay. So
He
that's going
ate
to
too
be
many
a big
groceries.
plus. Yeah. You said what?
He ate too many groceries, man. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, bro, you got to chill out, man. Over there eating bootios.
Hey. So I said, wait, what? Oh man, but like you
Oh
could you
man,
could
but
see
yeah,
you mentioned that the like with Jaden, I saw a lot of things that I was not happy with in that last game, and again, It's coming off the bye week, so I'm gonna blame coaching because the teams that come off bye weeks and do really well, the Andy Reid teams, uh, Andy Reid, I think the Harbaughs do really well off bye weeks. I wasn't impressed with how we played after the bye week. Again, we had the lead, but it looked sloppy. It
Yeah.
didn't look good. Jaden was doing his thing, but it's kind of like you can see his talent as opposed to early in the year, you could see how well coached these guys looked. And Dan Quinn talked about that early in the season. You know, Jaden having time with the players. You could see the coaching. Whereas as the season's kind of going along, I guess they're not able to do as much one-on-one coaching. That's something that the league kind of put in place years and years and years ago, where they took the practice time down.
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of see the effect that it's having as the season goes along with the rookie and maybe in the sophomore year. Hopefully, we don't have that sophomore slump like CJ Stroud is having. But I can see, like Jaden was holding on to the ball. He's kind of running to the sideline. Instead of just throwing it out, he's taking like a -1 yard instead of just throwing it out. That's coaching. You know, some of these sacks, like you said, he's drifting. Step up in the pocket. Let the defensive end run past you. I can see the difference in him and a Josh Allen. Josh Allen looks so calm in the pocket, and Jaden was looking like that early in the year. But this last game, and again, I'll give the Saints credit. You know, they have Chase Young. Chase Young is not a scrub. They have another good Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan is not a scrub. So I'll give the Saints some credit. But eight sacks, I'm not giving them that much credit. Yeah, that's too much. Inexcusable.
Yeah.
So the Commanders aren't quite there yet, and the Eagles, man, they want to win. So I think the Eagles and the Ravens, and that might be my Super Bowl pick when I really
That
think
would be
about
a
it.
hell of a Super Bowl.
that
Or
would be a
Eagles Bills. I like to see that too.
man, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
But
like the Eagles in this one too.
But yeah, I mean, Brodies, let us know what you think. If you're not following us, again, you need to be following us at Brodie Sports Talk on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You know, click on the bottom right-hand corner, subscribe and like and share and show your love. Let us know what you think about the picks. But moving right along, without further ado, we got our fan favorite segment here. It is our WIGG Parlay Locks of the Week. And as usual, we got a disclosure. We are using our own funds here to fund these parlays. And if you want to build your own parlay individually, you can use the picks that we have. Or if you want to go out on a limb like us, you can use all 5 picks to build your parlay. Last week, we went 5 for 5 for the first time this season, a hundo. So if you bet with the Brodies, you guaranteed a win. And like we've been saying, we've been holding off on who we've been using until they cut the check. But I'm thinking how they know we're using them if we don't tell them. So Wiggs, who are you using on your platform?
So let's give a shout out to two. I'm gonna give a shout out to two because they're two that I really like. So if either of these two want to sponsor us, I'm gonna go with them. I like FanDuel and DraftKings right now.
Okay.
For my Thursday, for these picks, I like DraftKings. DraftKings does a really good job of laying out what players are available, and I like how you can kind of go down the list. You can pick out of all the rushing category. You can pick the receiving category. You can pick the passing category. I really like how DraftKings does that. And then I love the layout of FanDuel. FanDuel has a really clean, nice, user-friendly layout. But hey, I'll let those two bargain and say, you know, send us a bid.
Right.
Send us a bid. You know what I'm saying?
We'll review it with our team. Now, I'll throw in a third bidder as well. I also have BetMGM. So, that platform is also very, very good. It's very clean, very easy to understand as far as making your bets. So, excuse me. But yeah, those are the 3 that we're using there, Brodies. Let us know how those parlay picks are working for you. And if you hit, again, drinks are on you. So let's go ahead and get started. Who you got here for the first leg, Wiggs?
For the first leg. And like you said, we went 5 for 5 last week, so I'm feeling good this week. I like the format that we did last week, so we're going to kind of stick with that. Let's start off with quarterback passing. The first leg, we're going to go with Jared Goff for 225 passing yards at minus 320. Jared Goff looked really good last week. And let me see who the Lions are playing this week.
So the Lions, they have, let's see, they got the Bears.
Yep, Lions versus Bears. I don't know why. Oh, I do have it right here. Yep, Lions versus Bears. You know, the Bears are the Bears are not that good. uh, man, Caleb Williams is just he's kind of struggling, and the Bears defense is not that great. So Jared Goff, the Lions did lose David Montgomery, but they still have Jahmyr Gibbs. You'll see him later on. For a little foreshadowing. So Jared Goff's going to depend a little bit more on the passing game, I believe. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff are connecting really, really well. Sam Laporta has been playing all year, and he hasn't had as big of an impact as he did last year. I think Sam Laporta is going to have a big game this week as well. And that's all going to feed into Jared Goff's passing yards. So 225 for Jared Goff, Lions versus Bears. Cole, what do you think about this?
I like it. Jared Goff is a top 5 MVP candidate. He's coming off a 5-touchdown performance against a contending team, and they own the Bears this year. They're a depleted team morally and physically. So yeah, definitely like that. Who you got for the second leg?
All right, for the second leg, we're going to take it down south. Bucky Irving for 40 rushing yards for minus 300. I mean, Bucky Irving has taken over this backfield. I think Rachaad White was a starter, but Bucky Irving is just too talented. You can see it every week. He's running for more and more yards from the line of scrimmage. And 40 is just too easy, in my opinion. Let me see who Tampa Bay is playing this week.
They got the Cowboys in that poor run defense, and they also play poorly at home.
Exactly. So yeah, I think Bucky Irving for 40 rushing yards is an easy lock. Cole, what do you think?
Yeah, lock that in. Every running back that's played the Cowboys this year has gone over 40 yards. So that's a lock right there. Who do you got for the third?
For the third leg, let's go back to Detroit. Like I said, David Montgomery's out, so we're going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs for the third leg. Let's go for 100 rushing and receiving yards for minus 285. Like I said, when you combine the rushing yards that Jahmyr and David Montgomery get, you can easily get over 200, but easily you can get over 150. So take David Montgomery out of that equation. Man, get well soon, David Montgomery. But Jahmyr Gibbs, he can take the workload. And he will take the workload. I think he's going to get 100 yards from the line of scrimmage easy this week. Again, the Lions are playing the Bears, and the Bears just are depleted. They're depressed. They are defeated. So Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get 100 yards easy this week, in my opinion. Cole, what do you think?
I agree. Him picking up the slack with Montgomery. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 100 yards rushing. So, yeah, and the Bears defense, they're a shell of themselves. Interesting take as far as the running backs, as far as spreads go. Did you see the David Montgomery odds for the season? 775.5 yards, and he got 775 even. What type of collusion is going on with that crap? Like, you can't make this parlay stuff up, folks.
Yeah. Fucking funny, Vegas, man. Vegas is too good. They are I don't know what to say, man. Vegas is good, man. And like you said, it's gotta be collusion of some sort, because my man can't get a half a yard. How did they get it that close? It's crazy. But we're on the roll this week. We got 5 for 5 last week, so I think we got the secret sauce now, Cole. I think we know what to do. I think we know how to pick them. And 100 rushing and receiving, like you said, this should be easy versus the Bears. It's a lot.
Yeah, I like it. Who you got for the fourth?
For the fourth leg, we're gonna go back down south. Mike Evans for 50 receiving yards. I think, like I said, I have the strategy now. You got to pick the good team with the good matchup. who's hot going into the week? Who are they playing? And again, the Bucks are playing the Cowboys. The Cowboys defense is depleted. We know who Baker wants to go to. He's going to run with Bucky. He's going to pass to Mike Evans. Mike Evans looked great last week. I think he ended up with 2 touchdowns, some long yards, some long runs, big receiver. Cowboys don't have Trevon Diggs. So Mike Evans for 50 yards for minus 290 co. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. Just like that dude on Instagram that makes all them tough basketball shots. I understand it now.
I understand it
I
now.
understand it
Lethal
now. You
Shooter.
know,
Shout out
like
to Lethal Shooter.
yeah, like you said, Trayvon Diggs is out. That's their number one corner. And Bucky Irvin is just going to wear down the Cowboys defense until the point they're going to take deep shots. I mean, your boy Baker Mayfield loves play action passes. And he also loves throwing on the run a lot too. That one pass, he threw to, he was running to his left and still threw it with his right, and it was like a dime pass, man. Like Baker Mayfield is in his bag. I really like seeing his renaissance, man, because he didn't get a fair shake in Cleveland. Cleveland browned it up like they normally do, and Carolina, their owners basically Snyder 2.0 botching opportunities. So I like Mike Evans. He's got his chemistry with Baker. Definitely lock that in. Who you got for the fifth? Ironically,
Hey, what a transition. Let's stay down south. We're gonna go right back to Baker Mayfield for the 5th leg for 200 passing yards at minus 295. I mean, again, the Cowboys defense is just not it. Cooper Rush is playing okay for the Cowboys. Rico Dowdle, CeeDee Lamb, they have some pieces, but I don't see them dominating time of possession. I don't see their defense dominating. Like I said, Trevon Diggs is out. They also lost one of their best pass rushers. The Cowboys did. I can't remember his name, but he was coming on strong in his first season with the Cowboys, and he's out. So that take away the pass rush, take away the best cornerback. The Buccaneers should eat. The Buccaneers are coming off a 40-point game against the Chargers. And again, Baker has a lot to prove. The Buccaneers have a lot to prove. This is a Super Bowl winning team, but that was with Tom Brady. We heard Tom Brady and Baker have a little back and forth, so I'm pretty sure Baker wants to see how far he can take this team. Let's get some more stats as the season goes along. 200 passing yards for minus 295 co. What do you think?
I'm locking that in. The Cowboys are some trash on defense overall. Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans, great tandem. Go ahead and lock that in, Brodies. But to give you guys the recap here, for the first leg, we got Jared Goff. Go ahead and lock him in. We got Bucky Irvin coming in at number 2. Our third leg, we got Jahmyr Gibbs. Fourth leg, we got my main man, Mike Evans. And then to round it off, we got Baker Mayfield here for the fifth leg. Let us know how these parlays are working here for you, Brodies. Again, if you're not following us, you need to follow us on Brodie Sports Talk on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for all of your parlay needs, fantasy talk, and what have you. Like on the bottom, like and share. Click on the bottom right-hand corner. Definitely appreciate the love. But moving on, we got our Stardom Situm. Now it's fantasy playoff time, so these players are going to be very pertinent because it's win or go home now. So if you are in a league that you bought in, or if you're just in a league in general with friends or family or whatever, it's do or die. And anyone who had a bye week last week, now it's time to get the ball rolling here, man. It's going to be serious here. So
Big
here's what
week.
we got for the Stardom Situm. Just like in the locks here, we got Baker Mayfield for me. We got Michael Penix Jr. for Wiggs. Now, Wiggs is doing his victory lap of the Kirk Cousins hate campaign. Kirk Cousins, despite a win, was benched because it was cringeworthy, bro. It was hard to watch that game, bro. It really
Listen,
was.
in the last 4 games, Kirk Cousins has 0 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. In the last 5, he has 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions. It's just not good enough. The Falcons' defense is good enough, and Kirk he wasn't doing enough. And the Falcons have weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like your choice to go with the Sidham because he's got a full week of practice. So I like how they made him the starter right away, so he can get that full week of practice with the starters.
And they're going against the
And
Giants.
you said what?
Try. And they're going against the Giants.
And they're
Try.
and they're home against the Giants, which is even more pertinent. So it's the perfect opportunity to grandfather him in. And I think they need to start discussing on whether they're going to cut Kirk and eat $65,000, 65 million in dead money, or try to trade him and eat $35 million in dead money. Either
I think
way,
they can trade him. I think they'll be
I
able to
think you
trade
can trade him. Send him to the Raiders, or send him to the Jaguars and have the B word fit behind him and learn from him or something.
him. Yeah.
There's plenty of people that will take Kirk Cousins. His career is not over, but that this experiment did not work, and the writing was on the wall the moment they took Penix. I, I mean, it was just like with RG3. How ironic though. Remember when RG3 gets drafted and they drafted Kirk and he ends up taking over? Same situation. How ironic. You're brought in as a starting quarterback and they draft your backup in the same year they bring you in. That's football poetic justice right there. But
Wow, that's a good man. What a great one. That's full circle right there, coach.
yeah, 100% full circle, man. And as far as the Siddums go, he's in a sophomore slump. I'm taking CJ Stroud. Go ahead and sit him. Justin Herbert, he's got a pretty big defensive matchup with the Broncos. You're rolling with Justin Herbert to be on the Siddum. I agree with that as well.
Yeah, and I think like you said, it's about matchup. CJ Stroud is going against the Chiefs. Chiefs defense is legit. Like that's not a defense I want to start CJ Stroud against. And the same goes for Justin Herbert. Who'd you say the Chargers are? The Broncos.
Yes.
Pat Surtain and them Broncos are legit. The Broncos have some good linebackers, some good defensive line rush. Um, and again, Herbert is missing J.K. Dobbins. They haven't been able to. They have Gus Edwards, but he hasn't replaced J.K. Dobbins in the way that's allowed them to run their offense the way they want to. They still have some decent pieces, but versus that defense, I don't think Herbert's going to look good. And like you said, Cole, this is the playoffs. We're not starting them, sitting them for regular season. This is when it counts. If you're going to start somebody, they got to be, legit. Herbert, I'm not trusting Herbert in this matchup right here.
Yeah, I'm with you. Moving on to the running backs. This guy, I'm a big fan of this guy. He flies under the radar. He's Mr. Consistent, and his name is Connor. James Conner. Go ahead and start him. You
Start him.
got Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, he's the lock of the week in the parlays, so it's only fitting that we put him in the stardom sit him. I agree with both of these picks here.
Yeah, Cole, I love the Connor pick. This happened off camera last week. I wasn't happy with the way the Cardinals were running their offense. I
Yeah,
almost had James Conner in my sit-em last week, and you kind of were like, "Yo, what are you talking about, man? James Conner is too good." And I sat and thought about it, and I'm like, "You're absolutely right. Like James Conner is a 100 yard line of scrimmage type of, like he can get 100 yards from the line of scrimmage any week." And the Cardinals did that last week. James Conner ended up being the number one fantasy running back last week. So I think this is a great stardom. Who's the Cardinals matchup?
the Panthers.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's too easy. That's an easy stardom. I love and I feel like Kyler Murray is turning the page a little bit. I think I said it last week. If James Conner is getting the ball, then that opens things up for Kyler.
Yep.
So this is the way to run this team. Give James Conner the ball, let him get 20 plus carries. It opens everything up for Kyler, for Marvin Harrison, for Trey McBride, who doesn't have a touchdown yet this year.
Which is insane.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. So yeah, I really like that pick. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, we talked about it earlier. David Montgomery's out. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get the touches, so that's an easy stardom for me for these two.
Yep. And transitioning into the sit-em, we've been talking about it. With the Chargers, Gus Edwards, man, like I think he may just be done because the shelf life for running backs aren't too long. So he's been in the league for more than 3 years. Yeah, I don't like him this week against the Broncos defense. Shockingly, you have Derrick Henry. Now I actually kind of agree because it's a division game, and I think they're starting to just make peace with the identity that they just don't want to run him 20 plus times a game. It's clear as day. Like they do it all the time. So they're going to rely on Lamar most likely. They'll probably give him some goal line touches, but I doubt it. As far as him getting like 20, 30 touches or whatever. So I agree with the sit him, but it's a conflict of interest because I got him on my team. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna take your advice on this one. I gotta pray on this one, but definitely agree.
Yeah, no. So in this instance, I'm saying sit him because I don't like the and we saw it last week. Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, two of the literal best two running backs in the league, had two of their worst weeks last week to start the playoffs. Luckily, both of us were in the bye week. Shout out to us for just being that good in fantasy that we didn't have to worry about it. But Saquon had a bad week last week and Derrick Henry, and it just made me think you can't get caught up in the name. You have to pay attention. With this being a divisional game, I like the Steelers defense. I know Mike Tomlin's going to take something away. He's going to do something, and he's really good at controlling the line of scrimmage. Derrick Henry's the type of running back. He has to get that head of steam going. If Derrick Henry doesn't get that like steam going, you can kind of stop him behind the line of scrimmage, and the
Yeah.
Steelers do a really good job of that. They did lose T.J. Watt, like you said, but I think it's going to be next man up. I think they're going to still try to control the line of scrimmage, and I think the Ravens are going to depend on Lamar Jackson. So
Yep.
I think this is one of those where I'm just not a fan of the coach. It's not the running back in this situation. For me, it's the coach. So if Derrick Henry ends up having 100 yards and a touchdown, I I'm not going to be surprised because that means they just gave him the ball. But what I'm thinking is going to happen is they're going to run him for maybe 15 carries. He's
Hmm.
going to end up with maybe 70, 75 yards. And I don't know if he's going to get a touchdown. So, 75 yards is not enough. He's not a part of the passing game. So I'm just not confident in this team versus the divisional opponent. And then for Gus Edwards, like you said, he's not a replacement for J.K. Dobbins. He's a good RB2, but he's not a RB1,
Yeah.
and you can just tell there he's not a like I said, he's not a RB1. So I think these are two good sit-ems.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to the wide receivers. I got Devontae Smith, and it looks like you're rolling with Keelan Allen. Now, I think the reason why I'm going with Devontae Smith is because Lattimore is probably going to follow AJ Brown, and that means that Mikey Samerstill or Ain't Juiced,
Ain't
uh,
juice.
it, is going to be covering Devontae, and he, now if Samerstill is on him, it could be a different story. But if Saint Juice is on him, he's going to have a field day. So with that being said, I'm going to take Devontae Smith as a stardom. Look to get 10 to 15 points from him, and despite the poor play of Caleb Williams, you think Keelan Allen is going to have a good game?
So yeah, I think something that I've been noticing, and like I always say every time I do these, I like to pick the player that nobody else is talking about, nobody else is thinking about. And as I've been watching the Bears, one thing I've noticed is I think Keenan Allen is turning into the number one receiver.
Hmm.
Earlier in the year, I thought it was going to be DJ Moore. Everybody was saying it was DJ Moore. He didn't really do anything. And in my opinion, Keenan Allen has always been the most talented receiver that they have.
Hmm.
The best route runner, the best hands. Roma Dunze hasn't set himself apart as a rookie. Like I said, DJ Moore hasn't set himself apart. The receiver that I see setting themselves apart is Keenan Allen. And the Lions defense. They just gave up 48 to they gave up 48 to Josh Allen. But Caleb Williams can get the ball down the field. He's a
Yeah.
little bit inaccurate, but Keenan Allen has really good hands. So when the ball gets in his range, he's gonna catch it. He's gonna get some yards after the catch. So I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to pick somebody that nobody else was thinking about. So I'm going with Keenan Allen this week. This is This is not like a 100% stardom. But again, this is if you're thinking about starting Keenan Allen versus somebody else, I would say this week go with Keenan Allen.
Yeah, solid pick. And if you need like a decision on a flex player or a wide receiver
Right.
three, he's
That's where I
definitely
would
a
go.
solid pick.
Yeah.
As far as sit 'em goes, Wiggs and I both agree. Sit DeAndre Hopkins. Main reason why is Mahomes may not play, and he wasn't getting the ball when he was playing, so he damn sure ain't getting the ball now. So I don't like the matchup if uh, Carson Wentz is playing. So definitely agree with you on that, Wiggs. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I love the Texans defense. They get a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. Carson Wentz has never been good with pressure. So I think the Texans are just gonna have a field day with Carson Wentz. And DeAndre Hopkins is gonna suffer. And you'll see in my next sit 'em. I'm not looking forward to the Chiefs defense at all this week, and I think this is going to be a very low scoring game on both sides actually. So
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, Moving on to the tight ends. I'm gonna go with Pat Fairmouth again. Um, like Pickens is out. Najee Harris is he's not one of those backs that are just he just doesn't seem to take off. I think he just got too many carries when he was in college, and he's just a shell of himself. Yeah, I think he had like over 300 something carries that his last year in Alabama.
yeah,
But yeah, he's just not. I hate to say it, he's kind of turning into a B word. And Fairmouth, he's a quarterback's best friend. It's a low scoring game. I like him in the end zone. I think he's going to get some end zone targets. So I'll take Fairmouth, and it looks like you're going with Trey McBride.
listen, Kyler Murray said Trey McBride has got to get in the end zone. I believe him. So I think this is the week. Let me see who the Cardinals got. The Cardinals got the Panthers.
Yeah,
What better time to do it than this week? Um, Kyler Murray versus Bryce Young. That's interesting in itself. But Trey McBride is really good. He's a really big target. He's I think he's one of the top tight ends in yardage. So he's gonna
yeah,
get the yards. And again, the tight end position this year has not been great.
yeah,
So we're not working with 10 tight ends that could if you got to if you have these tight ends, you got to start them really. So if
yeah.
you have somebody else,
Good
start
luck.
Trey McBride.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that pick. He's got to get a touchdown sooner or later,
some point. Yeah.
and they're playing a poor defense in Carolina over there in the Munchkin Bowl. So between Kyler Murray and
Bryce,
what's the
yeah.
little guy's name?
Bryce, yeah.
Little buddy. Hey, little buddy.
Your little buddy, Bryce Young,
Little
bro.
man. Hey, hey. You know what I'm saying? Over there in the lollipop bowl over there. So, well, yeah, I like the pick. For Stidham, again, Wiggs and I agree. We're sitting Travis Kelsey. Now, it may sound blasphemous because it's a playoff game, but Mahomes may not play. So off that alone, I really think Andy Reid is going to say, hey, look, we're not going to put the ball in Carson Wentz's hands. So what we're going to do, most likely, it's cold. Let's run the ball. Pacheco, he's got the freshest legs out of everybody, right now. And let's just and like I said a couple of weeks ago, Noah Gray leads the team in touchdowns, and he's third in receptions. So that's probably the bread and butter right there. So definitely agree with you on that, Wiggs. Brodies, let us know what you think. We definitely want to get some of your feedback and let us know how things are going with your fantasy teams. Go ahead and comment on all of our platforms on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Click on the bottom right hand corner to subscribe, and then like and share with your family and friends. We definitely appreciate the love. And moving right along here, we're going to get into our fantasy talk. It is semifinals week of the playoffs, and yeah, looking at the first round here, Brandon took an L to Mo, who's having a renaissance season.
Shout out to
He
Mo, man.
Shout out to Mo. he faces you, the number one seed in the semifinals, and Matt. Unfortunately, his honeymoon came to a a quick abrupt end when he took an L to Mr. Grady in Geechee land.
Hey, Mac hasn't won since he's been married, man. So at
Yo,
least he's married. You know, he can count on his wife, but he can't count on
he can't
fantasy
count on
anymore,
his
man.
team, you know,
Cannot
and
count on his team.
yeah, and this is the second year in a row that I finessed him in a trade. So, I sent him CJ Stroud. No, he had CJ Stroud. Uh,
Stephon Diggs, I think.
yeah, I sent him Stephon Diggs and he got injured. The year before, I sent him CJ Stroud and then he hit like a losing streak. Yeah. So I don't know if Mac's gonna be doing any more trades with me,
Bro,
but
Mac gave me Saquon Barkley this year for Amon Ross St. Brown.
his mom was on the wedding. It
Hey,
had to be.
it had to be, man. So shout out to Mac, man.
Yeah, shout out to Tracy. She's a fellow gamer, but the Miami Knights, your team, you really did some sinister shit this year, bro. Like you know who you are. You're that person that takes advantage of like just people who are not knowledgeable about anything. Like if you were a salesman, you would be the person that doesn't go over the terms and conditions. You're just gonna give them the payment. You're gonna be like, yeah, you're only gonna pay this much. You're gonna save this much, but you ain't gonna tell them the rate. You ain't gonna tell them the closing costs. You ain't gonna tell
Hey,
them the default clause and the
don't worry
miscellaneous.
about
None of
none of
that
that.
shit.
Do you
And as
want
soon
this
as as
car?
soon
I
as the
got a
deal
car on the
closes, like,
lot
oh
for
yeah,
you.
by the way, you
I'm
know what I'm
telling
saying?
you.
Like, how did you finesse CD Lamb and Saquon Barkley from them, yo? Like,
Yeah,
some should be kicked out of the league for that shit.
no, listen, Zay Flowers and see what it is it's potential. So like the Zay Flowers and Xavier Worthy. I really thought Xavier Worthy could be a Tyreek
Yeah,
Hill. Like I don't I wasn't expecting that. I thought Xavier Worthy was really gonna have a good year. He literally ran the fastest 40 time in history.
yeah,
And he's with Patrick Mahomes. Like that's supposed to be a good pick. If I didn't make any of these trades, I still felt, really good about my
yeah.
team. And then the one that I would say to me, the one that's worse is the Saquon Barkley one. Because I
What
had
did he give up for that?
a Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I was gonna give him Alvin Kamara. That's what really makes that one crazy is I was gonna give him Amon-Ra and Alvin Kamara. And I wanted, I think, Saquon and somebody else, and he didn't want to give up the other person, so he was like, "I'll just give you Saquon for Amon Ra," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that." Like that's one of those that I was like, "Oh shit!" Like
I
I sent
mean,
that trade over so fast.
Saquon, to his point, Saquon hasn't had a healthy season. So
That's what I
so
think he's betting on. Yeah.
that probably was a factor because that's why I stayed away from him as well. And
Mm-hmm.
Amon Ra was coming off of a pretty solid season, and he had a lot of upticks. So I
He's
get
doing
it. So I
well.
get, you
Amon
know
Ra's
what?
doing well right now too. So.
Yeah. So I get it. And then actually, I ended up getting Amon Ra St. Brown off of him. So like,
So basically, yeah, he ended up with Stephon Diggs, who got injured, instead of Saquon and Amon Ra. That's
and that's the problem with having too many good players on your team. You get analysis paralysis, and then you get trade happy. Like
Mhm.
I don't like my philosophy is simple. If I do trade a player, it's going to be after week one. I'm not trading away a player that I haven't even seen play yet. I got to know what I have. So I'm
Yeah,
trading
I
back
got
after week
Saquon
one.
before week one.
Yeah, and then I have an analytic platform that I use that I'm not going to tell nobody about that gives me analytics on whether it's a good trade or not, and I run the trade scenarios through this algorithm, and it tells me whether it's a good trade or not. And ever
That's
since I
good.
found it, I have not made a poor trade since. So
Oh, that's nice.
I try to keep it simple. Like, help me and I'll help you. It's healthy
Yeah,
competition.
yeah,
I need a
exactly.
running back. You need a wide receiver. I'm not going to send you a bullshit trade to try to take advantage of you or
Yeah,
anything like that. But I'm also not going to send you a trade that's going to make your team better than mine,
right.
obviously. So, and
Yeah,
in
because I think
time,
I was
we'll
gonna
see
try
who
to
won
get
the
Derrick
trade.
Henry from you, I think I
You
was
know
gonna
what?
try to get Derrick Henry from you early in the season, and you were like, "Hell no! Like,
No,
get that shit out of
no.
here."
I'm not. You're not going to have Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, and Alvin Kamara on the same team. No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
But we got the Final Four matchup. We got the Miami
and it's the top
Knights.
four teams, Co. The top four
Yep,
teams actually made it to the playoffs.
to the Final
I like
Four.
seeing stuff like that. Yep.
Yep, we got you at number one. I'm at number two. Grady's at number three, and Mo is at number four. Um, Here's the thing. Uh, Grady and I split the matchup this season, so we're 1-1. Normally, if someone swept someone, the third game, you're going to lose that one. It's hard to beat a
Yep.
team three times in a row. But if it's a split decision, it's kind of up in the air. Now, here's the advantage that I think that I have. Number one, I won the last game. It's easier to win two in a row. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's number one. Number two, I don't like his matchups this week. His
Yeah.
teams. I don't like his matchups. And yeah, I think I just have a team that's hitting their stride. You know, it's the one thing to enter the playoffs on a winning streak because now you have the pressure to keep winning. I don't like that type of pressure. You know, but I do. I don't want to lose either because I don't want to create a losing streak. But if I lose a game and then I win the very last one moving in, I'm like, okay, now I can start the win streak because
Yeah.
now and I got the bye week. All I need is 2 wins, baby, and we're championship bound. All
That's
right,
it.
I'm the third seed. Odds are it's my year.
Hey, hey, we'll see. We'll see. Because again, I feel like I have the best team. I got the most. I got the highest points, and the highest points doesn't always win. That's the
You got the
crazy thing
red
about
title too,
fantasy.
so you're going for a trifecta.
What's crazy about fantasy, Co? Tosin had the worst season in a long time for our year. He got the most points last week.
Yep.
Luckily, he didn't play anybody because he was the eighth seed and he didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But how crazy is that? Like to be the worst team in the league all year round, and then the first week of the playoffs, he scores the most points out of anybody. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter at this point. But it just goes to show you like anything can happen in fantasy. You never know what's going to happen. I like your point about the analysis paralysis because that's another thing with Grady's team. Grady has a really good team, but he's got two good quarterbacks. He hasn't picked the highest scoring quarterback in the last 5 or 6 weeks. He's picked wrong every single
Mhm.
week because you got Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Like,
Yeah, it's that's the tough thing. Like you got he had Kirk Cousins too, but like you got those two dynamic quarterbacks both playing at a high level. It's kind of hard to choose, but excuse me, the supporting cast is what's more important because when you got arguably the best quarterback statistically, I mean that's set it and forget it. But
mm-hmm.
some of these wide receivers are having off games. Some of these running backs are having off games. I mean, like we said, Derrick Henry, only put up like 7 or 9 points last week. The
Yeah,
inconsistencies, like you just can't plan for. So, scoring wise, like your best bets are to go with who has the more favorable matchups. So this week, that's who I'm basing my starting lineup with. Who has the more favorable
mm-hmm.
matchups for me, and I just try to gauge and see how many points I can put up against this team, man. Because Grady
He has a team.
he has a squad. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's no half stepping. It's the top four teams. We're gonna see who has the biggest cojones, baby. You know what
Let
I'm
me ask
saying?
you this. So, did you have to make any pickups? Did you do any waiver wire pickups or anything? Or
I thought about it, but I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, it's playoff time. The roster is basically set. And anyone who I pick up right now off the waiver wire is not going to start. It's just going to be depth. Like Devontae Smith. I had him on my roster all year. I dropped him a couple of weeks ago for another player I can't remember. But like now, uh, even if I brought him back onto the team, I'm not starting him. I got Amon-Ra St. Brown. I got Puka Nakua. Uh,
you got to
I'm not
start both of those.
yeah,
Got to start
I'm
those
not going to
guys.
start them. But
Yeah.
they just benched famous Jameis, so I'm not going to put Jerry Judy in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I also got the running back from the Niners who's going to get all the carries, so I got him in as the flex versus
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Smith, and I got Tyreek Hill on the bench. So yeah,
Tyreek Hill on the bench. Just imagine that Tyreek Hill on the bench. Like
yeah. So
you
that just
can't make
goes to
that up.
show that you can't predict this shit. So
Yeah.
I'm wishing everybody the best of luck until they play me. So
Hey,
yeah,
hey. Hopefully,
that's
I see you in the chip. Hopefully, it's
hey
me.
that
What
that
better way than to have the Brodies in the chip next week?
that's the way the fantasy gods are going to have it play out.
I
Okay,
think so, man.
it's going to be a shoe crew bowl. Okay, and we might have to if it falls down to Monday night, right? We might have to do like a live or something.
Oh, we have to. We
Yeah,
have to.
we might have to do a live there, but
Oh,
uh,
that'll be too crazy, man.
yeah, man. But that's all I really wanted to talk about as far as fantasy talk. To get into the injury status report, we got a couple of injuries that I think are very important to go over, especially considering the parameters of the game. Starting with the Falcons, since they're starting Michael Penix, they need to perform in all facets. And Young Ho Koo is on IR. I don't know what happened, but their kickers on IR that can come back to haunt them, and that's definitely unfortunate. For the Ravens, Rashad Bateman, he's questionable. I don't know what their passing attack plan is going to be.
He's been really good for them.
Yeah, Mark Andrews and Likely. It's like they don't even care about the tight ends over there in Baltimore anymore. That's insane. He went from the number one target to not even being mentioned.
Make it
Curtis
make sense.
Samuel on the Bills is questionable. I don't even think he's really a big factor with all the
Mm.
other receivers, but definitely something to note there. Miles Sanders, we already mentioned that he's on IR, but the Panthers are some trash. Uh, that's pretty much all I see right here on the injury report. Any interesting outside of Mahomes, obviously with the high ankle sprain. I mean, it's there's no point in starting him. I understand he wants to play. That's the competitor in him, but
Keep him
they're
out.
13-1. They're leading the league right now, or the AFC right now for the number one seed. I think they can afford to sit them. I don't think it's really going to affect them much. I mean, go ahead, go. There's no point in in starting Patrick Mahomes. I would just go ahead and sit him. But those are pretty
Yeah.
much the injuries that stand out the most to me.
Yeah, and I think like you said, you're mentioning the ones that they're kind of talking about. I think Mahomes is a good one to mention. David Montgomery, we talked about him being out earlier. That's a big
Mhm.
hit for the Lions. Who else? Yeah, I mean, I just hate to see these injuries when the playoffs are coming right around the corner and we have
Yeah.
teams that are really, really good. The Mahomes injury has the potential to shift the playoffs from Kansas City to potentially maybe Buffalo.
Hmm.
So there are a lot of implications with that one. Same thing with the Lions. You take Montgomery out. I don't think the Lions are going to be hurt on offense, but defensively they have a couple players that are out, which is probably going to have more of an impact on them. But they're playing the Bears, so I think they should get the win.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned for the Commanders that Biotish is coming back.
Yeah.
That's a
He was sick. He'll be back.
Yeah, so that's a big one for us. Any
But
word on?
Ertz, he's in protocol. He may not play. Jeremy Chin the same way. He may not play either.
Any word on Austin Eckler?
He's on
He,
IR, so he's going to be
he's
out
on
for.
IR, so
Yeah,
he's done for
he'll
the
be back
season.
when we make the playoffs.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
and then Jonathan Allen. Did you see the
great
news on
question.
him?
So he also could come back when we make the playoffs.
Okay.
So he's got a torn pec. I don't know how the healing process is, but
I saw
based on
him
the
back on
timeline,
the
because he got
field
injured
though.
early, he
Yeah,
could come back as well.
yeah. I saw him back on the field doing some work. Like I said, I don't know if that's. I don't think that was for this week. I think you're right. It will be more for the playoffs. And again, I've said it all season long. I like what the Commanders are doing with their injured players. We don't need to. Marshawn Lattimore looked great. He was fast, and that's what Dan Quinn said. He didn't want to see Marshawn Lattimore on the field unless he had that speed. I
Hmm.
saw one of the Saints receivers kind of do like a crossing pattern. That's one of the hardest routes to check. Marshawn Lattimore was on his hip. When I say he to see the speed that he had, it was very, very impressive. I mean, I couldn't be more impressed with the way Marshawn Lattimore locked up his side of the field. I'm just really, really happy with the way the defense looks. Um, like I said, if we get Jonathan Allen back come
We
playoff
can use
time,
we can
man,
use
that's going to be very, very big. And then I guess one more person I'll ask about, but I think I know this person's out. Noah Brown, is he out?
Yeah, Noah Brown, he's on IR as well. He had a organ laceration.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was something with his kidneys or something. But yeah, he's going to be out.
and it's
Um,
KJ Osborne in his place, I
yeah,
believe.
yeah, he'll most likely take over the slot role.
Okay.
So yeah, that those are all important injuries. We can definitely use all of those players, and I think it would be great if we can get them all back. Playoffs time, because if we get Eckler back, Allen back, Ertz back, Noah Brown back, yeah, yeah, we're already a top five offense without him. So
Exactly.
yeah, but let us know what you think, Brodies. Again, comment on all of our platforms on Brody Sports Talk, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Click on the bottom right-hand corner to subscribe, like, and share with your family and friends. We definitely appreciate the love. And for our last take here, Brodies, again, keeping up with the controversial topics and the trends, to leave the Brodies wanting more. The flavor of the week has it's been circulating like wildfire. The recent Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter, him and his fiance and wife to be have been circling the internet for all the wrong reasons.
Mm.
And with all of that being said, the last take will be simply this. And this is to basically, to quote the great LL Cool J, the last take here is, who do you love? Married to the money,
Mm,
you know?
mm,
And it's not just her that it's all of these gold digging women that are targeting these athletes. Okay, now for those who don't know, who've been living under a rock, Travis Hunter recently won the Heisman Trophy for being a two-way player. He was a wide receiver and a cornerback. And on the last game of the season, when the game was over, the camera caught Travis Hunter trying to lean in and kiss his girlfriend or fiance. I think her name is Lena or something like that.
mhm.
Uh, and the camera showed her with the stank face, like moving away as he tried to kiss her on live television, and that sparked all of the talk on, is this girl right for Travis? Travis is a very nice young man. He's a wholesome guy, 4.0 student, five-star athlete. I mean, he's the total package. But he gives off a very innocent vibe where it may look like he hasn't really had much experience with relationships or dealing with women that may try to take advantage of him. And
He's
when
what we
you're a
call
prize
green.
athlete, you know what?
Yeah, I say he's what we call very green.
Very green. Yeah. And being a prize athlete, he's getting mad attention, right? He's been getting attention since an adolescence. And I don't know, man. Like, there's just been too many instances with her, with not standing up for him when they announced his name for winning the Heisman, for her having an attitude at the autograph signing, then going online and airing out his dirty laundry, talking about that he was cheating on his ex-girlfriend when he was trying to talk to him, then turn around and say, oh, he wasn't my type and I friend zoned him and ghosted him, and then all of a sudden you in love with him at a party, and talking about, I've been holding him down for 5 years, when ironically enough, that's how long he's been getting his NIL deals. And you talking about how you going out and partying and drinking and all this stuff, and he's waiting outside in the car for you. It's just it's it's overshadowing all of the accomplishments that this kid has done. I mean, he's the first two-way player to win the Heisman.
Since
What,
Charles Woodson.
since Charles Woodson? Yeah, so it's been years, and that's been overshadowed because of this young lady. Now, I'm not going to call her out her name, but I'm not saying she a gold digger either. but it don't appear to, you know what I'm saying? Like, the rest of the song here, because
Hmm.
every time you see her, she's flashing the ring. Anytime she doesn't have a ring on, you can see that she has a dollar sign tattooed on her ring finger. I don't know about you, but that makes a
That's
clear
a
statement
red
that she's going to
flag.
the money. You know
That's
what
a
I'm saying?
red flag, man.
That's a red flag, man. And I'm not going to sit up here and try to turn this into a battle of the sexes, Kevin Samuels type ordeal or whatever. But Travis Hunter is a high value commodity, man. He's an athlete. He's a millionaire already through the NIL deals. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's smart. He's genuine, God fearing man, giving the whole nine, and it's easy to get taken advantage of. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and try to judge the man on looks or whatever, but we're going to call a spade here. The dude don't look like Shamar Moore or Idris Elba.
He's not.
He's
He's not
very
DMing
cute.
prom time. When prom time came out, prom time was
Yeah,
Jerry curl
yeah,
swinging
you know what I'm saying?
and
Like
a lot of
he's
ladies.
an innocent kid. He looks like one of the little African kids off of the Air Up There movie. You know what I'm saying? You remember that joint? And he constantly, the way he wears his hair, he just looks like he plays video games and reads comic books. He's a little bit of a dweeb, but
Yeah.
it's all, and he just happens to run a 4.3. But it's nothing wrong with that. And but the problem the biggest issue I have, and I'll let you take over, is there's too many people saying the same thing. There's too many red flags with her. There's too many pro athletes telling him, bruh, she's not the one. And if you are going to marry her, get a prenup. You're 21 years old. You're about to get drafted into the NFL. It's kind of like dating a girl in high school for 4 years, and then both of you guys go off to separate colleges. It's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're young, and marriage ain't no joke, man. I've been married going on 14 years. And I ain't got the same type of money as Travis Hunter. And I ain't had a rebound in years. I ain't thrown a pass in years. You know what I'm saying? And me and my wife are going through ups and downs. That's just the nature of the journey of marriage. Now, when you add the media and a bunch of money and groupies and all that other stuff, it's just going to fan the flame. So I don't want to speak it over him or anything like that. I hope it all works out for him and her and all that good stuff. But odds are it's not going to work. And a lot of these chicks, they look at these athletes and they see dollar signs. I mean, look at what Drea did with that dude out there in Atlanta, or
Jalen
what did he play
Green
for
for
Atlanta?
Houston. Yep,
Yeah,
Jalen
like you
Green.
you 40 years old getting clapped by a 20-year-old that's young enough to be your son. Why? Because he got money.
Because
You
he
know what
got the
I'm saying?
money.
You've been with Travis Hunter. You said Travis Hunter wasn't your type, but all of a sudden you're in love with him. Was it that $3.5 million NIL deal, or was it his endorsements with Adidas, or the fact that he's going to go number one or number two in the draft and get guaranteed $25 million? Which one is it? I'm confused as to why he's all of a sudden your type now. Doesn't make any sense. So my last take is simple, man. Like, the athletes are being targeted, and when you are rich and powerful, a hard head makes a soft ass, and we see it happen so many times, like year in and year out. Some athlete is getting finessed by some IG model or what have you, or some high school sweetheart that invested early, and cashed in. And unfortunately, and I got sorry to ramble on, but some of these chicks, unfortunately, they're if birds of a feather flock together, they're guilty by association. LeBron James's wife could be the most genuine woman in the world, and she's holding it down. She's a great wife. She stays out of trouble. She doesn't say stupid shit or anything like that. That's another thing that Travis girl needs to learn. She needs to learn how to shut up, because the media will take stuff and run with it. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, even if she is 100% genuine, she loves Travis for who he is. The fact that he's a star athlete and going to be a millionaire, that perception of why you're with him is already going to be there. So you can't give people a reason to take it and run with it like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take, man. What do you think?
No, that's a great point. And before I kind of get into my take, let me ask you this, Co, because like it's one of the things I like to do on this show is like you said, a lot of people have been saying this stuff already. So I know you like to try to, play advocate and let's look at it from a different angle. Let me ask you this: we can see that he's green. We can see that he's taken up for her. He's defending her. They've been together for 5 years. If this is your boy, and you can see he doesn't want to break up with her, what do you say now? Like, what's your if you're having a man to man with him, and you can see he's not, because you don't at this point you don't want to risk the friendship. And I think
Right.
he has enough people in his corner. He has Dion close to him, like he's got Shador close to him. So I know these guys have said it to him. So once you see your boy is head over heels, are you supportive from this point? What kind of approach do you take with this now that you see he's so green? Because like we talked about it a little bit before the show. I think Shannon Sharp kind of said it. He's kind of like, all right, at this point, maybe I just back up
Yeah.
and let him take his
Yeah.
L. What do you do, or what would you do for your boy?
At that point, if you lament several times that I don't think you should be with this girl, or you need to watch her, bro. Like, there's too many red flags. After the second or third time, it's just like, all right, man. I mean, I support you either way, man. That's your girl.
Yeah,
I'm gonna support you either way. But know this: don't come and complain to me at all. I don't want to hear no, hey, dog, man, saying, Shorty did this, Shorty did. No, 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 because I told you to leave her alone and you don't want to listen. Like, look, brother, like every man has been there. Okay. We've experienced our first baddie, every man's confidence has come to an apex or crossroads where where our confidence was boosted when we got with a girl that we thought was out of our league.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That's what's happening with him. There's no way in hell that he thinks he thinks that he can't do better.
yeah.
And I get it. That's your girl. You're gonna marry her and all that good stuff. She's been holding me down for 5 years. She's been holding me down. Okay, that's great, brother. But you've also been very successful these past 5 years. Let's see her attitude when you get injured, God forbid, and you're out for the season, or God forbid you say something to wrong to the wrong person, and now you're inducted into the cancel culture and you lose an endorsement, or hate to say it, we see it all the time. You're a Heisman Trophy winner. You know how many Heisman Trophy winners are busts in the NFL? What if you come in the NFL and you don't perform to standards, and then you're out of the league in 2 to 3 years? And now all that fast money is dried up, and that compound you got in Colorado is on foreclosure. Is she gonna
Very
be riding or
possible.
die for you then? Is she gonna be flashing the ring then? Is she gonna be on the YouTube channel talking about how you're so perfect in her eyes then? That's what we're gonna see, because my wife has been with me when I was a rich man and when I was a poor man. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you've been with her for 5 years, but you've been with her for 5 years during a successful season. Let's see her. Let's see if she's all smiles and giggles if you go broke or if you're having a bad season.
And Co, we don't have to see. We're seeing the signs now, and that's what people are saying. She said you looked at a girl while you were on the field. So in your last game of the season, she's mad because you looked at a girl. Let's be real. That's red flag number one. You went over the red flag, so I don't have to go over all of them. But we can see the signs that she's not gonna be happy when things don't go her way. That's a
Mm-hmm.
problem because you're in the spotlight now, Travis. You're the one that's, when it's time to play football, the camera's gonna be on you. Not only is the camera gonna be on you, now the camera's gonna be on her.
Mm-hmm.
How does she represent you? Because if she's gonna take your last name,
Mm-hmm.
she's gotta represent you. Like you said, Savannah James, people didn't even know what she sounded like into these last couple years. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a good thing because we don't need to know. If we heard a story about Savannah, that's not a good thing. If we heard a story about let's go to LeBron's mom. All due respect, it's not something you want to hear. I don't want to hear about my teammate and my mom. Like, that's not a good story.
Yep.
There's
That's not
already
good for business.
it's not good for business. There's already a post, and again, I don't know if this is real or not, but there's a post of Travis's girl liking Anthony Edwards. Again, I don't know if it's real or not, but that's not a good look.
Yeah.
And you got hard eyes under his post. Like, bro, that's not a good
What are you
look.
doing? And I'm like, you can only give them so many passes. You know, like
Exactly.
you cannot be this dense. You know, like you're shooting yourself in the foot deliberately. Like, granted, you can do whatever you want on your post and all that good stuff, but this younger generation needs to understand one thing. You can do whatever you want, you can say whatever you want, but you are not free from the consequences. You
And
can't
there's
sit
a
here and throw your fiance under the bus and not expect backlash. You cannot sit up
exactly.
here and throw a temper tantrum at a freaking autograph sign. Like, he's literally working right now. He's making money. The that fur coat that you had on with the fur hat. Who paid for that?
I'm pretty
It
sure he
damn
bought
sure
that.
wasn't your parents.
I'm pretty sure he bought that. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So why you over here giggling and dressing half naked and dancing around and all this stuff with all the other hoes? You know, like, you're embarrassing him. You know, and you're talking about being his wife. You represent him anytime you say something, anytime you go somewhere. And that's one thing that I will appreciate about my wife and about Savannah James and any wife who understands the assignment. When you walk out those doors, you represent the last name that you took on. You know what I'm saying? And she's not starting off right, you know, and like I said, bro, time wise, it's not adding up. You said that you didn't like him. He wasn't your type. You ghosted him because he had a girlfriend and he slid in your DMs. Then all of a sudden, you give him your number, you ghost him some more, and then you're going to a party and he offered to take you, and all of a sudden you fall in love with him and you've been with him the last 5 years. Well, the man is, what is he? How old is he? 21?
Can't be much older than 23. I don't know for sure, but yeah, 20. I would say
Let me
21,
look that
22.
up real quick. Let me look
But
that up.
yeah, while you're looking that up, I'll just talk a little bit about, like you said, let's just go to, I'm not going to say all women, but
21.
okay, let's talk about women and athletes. First of all, like you said, we're not going to get into the Kevin Samuels part of it, but let's just talk about what women are looking for. In today's day and age, women feel like they're independent. So all they really want from a man is money, because that's all they
Yeah,
really
most
need
cases, yeah.
to continue to be independent. You mentioned Drea. Drea has been playing this game. She has a son that's 18 now. So she just needed another 18 years to retire. 18 and 18 is 36. That's a retirement. You put your time in. So she had one kid with one guy, let him pay child support for 18 years. All right, now let me go get another
Let me get
young
another
dummy.
one while I still
Let me go
can.
get another one. I got another 18 years. I could retire after that. This is all we're seeing now. It's not about marriage. It's not about taking on somebody's last name. It's about, can I get the bag and can I be independent? And like you said, when you got a money sign on your ring finger, that says a whole lot.
That's
Like,
a red flag.
that's a big
And
red flag. It will be hard for me to take somebody serious with a money
exactly.
sign on their ring finger.
Exactly, bro. And like I said, this newer generation of athletes that I'm seeing, they're more wholesome. They're more genuine. I mean, like CJ Stroud speaks about his faith all the time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
these
James,
young men out here are actually they're actually wholesome dudes. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, like a lot of these ladies out here in the athletic world, we already know what it is, man. Like, you're with him because he's a millionaire and you can get taken care of. Now here's one thing that I think Travis is doing to kind of test the waters to see if she is legit or not, she hasn't gotten pregnant yet. A lot of these athletes, they get these chicks pregnant in high school and college, all right before they even get married. So
Right.
I
That's fine.
appreciate the fact that he's still like, hey, look, we're not having kids until we get married. And
That's true.
so like that's kind of keeping her at bay, because if they would have had a kid already, it's too late.
It's
It's
over.
already too
Yeah.
late.
I
Um,
don't even think they would be together if they had a kid already, because like that's the paycheck. Once I have the baby with you, I
that's
don't
it.
need you anymore.
Yeah, we're good to
Um,
go. Now again,
listen, if
we're
Tom Brady, oh, go ahead.
no, I was saying, like, again, we're not saying that every single woman in the world is a gold digger,
No,
but we have, whether you're an old school thinker or a modern day thinker, at the end of the day, a woman wants to feel secured financially, physically, and spiritually. Period. And if they don't get those three facets in time, they may monkey branch or venture off and build their own nest. And once their nest is built, one twig at a time, your ass is grass. And
I was.
that's just natural. Self sustainability is something that men and women want. The issue with this here is all of these athletes, particularly the new one, the younger ones, they're falling victim to the oldest trick in the book. And it's like these kids now, I think it's because they're so wholesome, because they're, maybe withstanding from having sex until marriage, or being more intimate with their spiritual practices, and limiting the soul ties and all that good stuff. We won't get too deep, but all of that is being kept at bay. And when you have that much temptation being thrown at you, eventually you're going to crack. And then also you got to remember this, bro. A lot of these kids, what's his name, Zion.
Mhm.
A lot of
Oh
these
man,
kids, they've been watching these OnlyFans chicks, these porn stars, and all this stuff, and they think that it's a flex to be with them.
and and they don't have game code. Let's be honest.
They
Like
don't.
when you're an
They
athlete,
don't
you don't
have
have to
game. They
have
just got
games.
money. So that's,
So
what I'm saying. And
yeah,
it's a connect the dot situation. Like, oh, all you want is money. I just want you for a trophy girl. We're good to go. I just signed a $200 million contract, fully guaranteed. Have a baby by me, baby. Who the hell cares? I'll write the check.
exactly.
I'll write the check before the baby comes.
Exactly. And Co,
So
you've probably seen this whether you've had money or a car. Sometimes you as guys, we have to go out and we have to be the ones that go out and spit game and approach women. But once you get a certain amount of money, women start to approach you.
yeah.
So you have to be careful with that, because there's a certain type of woman that's going to approach you because they're the ones that are now the predator.
Mhm.
Usually we're the predator and they're the prey. But that's what people are saying to Travis. It's like, bro, she's a predator in this situation, just like
Yeah.
Drea. Drea's not the prey anymore. Drea is now the predator.
Yeah.
She's going for what she wants. This girl is a predator. Like you have to, and again, not predator in the sense of like, you're a little, person that's going to be abused, but it's just to you, you're her prey. She's coming for your money. She's not
Hmm.
coming for you. So
Hmm.
you have to be aware of that. Um, I was gonna say something. Oh, Tom Brady. We're talking about the money aspect. I think you said something really good about the financial, the physical, the security, and it is just it could be anything. Tom Brady. Giselle wanted Brady to retire, and Brady said, I'm gonna retire, and then he said, you know what, I want to go one more year. I won the Super Bowl. Let me go, and that was too much for Giselle. Giselle was already on. She's got a trainer. The trainer that Tom Brady was paying for
Was clapping.
was clapping her cheeks. Like, bro, so it's not every woman, of course, not every woman, but it's just a matter of you start seeing the signs. We started hearing Giselle talk and be louder and louder and louder before they got divorced. She
Hmm.
started complaining about Super Bowl stuff.
Hmm.
Giselle, bro, stay out of this. This don't have nothing. I think she's complained like 2 years ago, before they got divorced. She was complaining about some stuff in the Super Bowl. It's kind of like, look, that's not. I don't need to hear Savannah complain about LeBron. We never hear Savannah talk
Never,
about LeBron in game. That's not.
never.
It's not your place.
Yeah.
Giselle, you don't need to be on the field. You don't need to be anywhere saying anything about anything that happened with Tom Brady. So when a woman starts to get a little bit too like talkative and stuff, all right, you're getting out of place. Those are the red flags. If it can happen to Tom Brady, it can happen to anybody. Tom Brady,
Hmm.
Bill Gates, Elon, the list
List goes
goes
on.
on and on. It doesn't even matter about how much money you have. It's all about the situation and the person that you're with. Are they gonna leave when things get bad? When things don't go their way? Not
Hmm.
when things get bad. When things don't go their way, are they gonna leave at the drop of a hat? You saw with Giselle. With Giselle, it was because again, bro. He probably Tom Brady had probably had one more year. You can't give this
Yeah,
man.
at least
He's
another
the
year.
greatest quarterback in the history of the game. He can't have one because he said he was gonna retire in 2021. He can't retire in 2022. Like, let's be serious, man.
I can't make another $30 million.
Yeah. Let's be real.
I can't work. You're telling me I can't do my job, for another year? God gave man a job before he gave him a woman.
Let's be
You know what I'm saying?
serious. Let's be
Adam tended to
serious.
the garden before Eve came. So it's
So,
like, that's
so it's
our purpose is to work first. So to sit
yeah.
there and ask a man to stop working, that's
It,
that's that's hard. Just like with Judge Joe Mathis. His wife was going to divorce him over him working too much. Now, I get it. In time, when you have those high pressure jobs, it does put a strain on the family because you're constantly away from home. And then again, with that fame comes temptation. So I get it. I completely get it. But that's not what we're
it's a
talking about. We're
right. It's
talking
a
about
strain
what
on the
your
relationship.
ulterior motive is. Why are you here? Because you told me that I wasn't your type. So basically, you're saying you're not attracted to me. So either I'm ugly, or either I'm not smart enough, or I'm not funny enough, or there's something physically that you don't like that's not, you know, persuading you to move forward. But
Hmm.
out of the blue, now I'm the bee's knees. Like, what changed? Because like Mace said on It Is What It Is, shout out to Mason Cam, was those reasons for you not liking him are going to rear its ugly head again in the future.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
just going, whatever the reasons are for him not being your type, those things don't go away. Like, if you don't like short women, if you don't like your women below 5 feet, I mean, below 5 foot five, and you meet, what's her name, Simone Biles, right? It don't matter how good of a woman she is. It don't matter how much money she is. She's below 5'5". But if you said, like, I'm gonna go ahead and date her. Eventually, you're gonna be like, man,
I should have got with Angel Reese.
she's still too short, man. I want someone like, yeah, tall like Angel Reese or something. So I'm curious to see how this is going to work out. And if he goes to a sorry ass team like the Giants or like the Raiders, and ends up being a bust, God forbid, shit's going to hit the fan, and we're going to see if she's real or not. But
Let me
that's
add this. Let me add
yeah,
this last because I wanted to answer the question I asked you. If he was my friend and I saw him doing this, I think I would kind of take the approach that Shannon Sharper is taking, and the same one that you said. I think you do have to let him take his L because that's the best way for somebody to learn. And you hope he does it. Like you said, the good thing is they don't have kids yet
yeah,
because let's say things don't work out. If they don't have kids, that makes the split easier. It's a lot harder once you do have kids together. But that's the one thing I'm concerned about and I think he's heard it enough. So if he doesn't get it by now, he's not going to get it. It's
yeah,
nothing else. This is no other ways we can say it. They've they've had their tough times. If they've been together for 5 years, I'm pretty sure they've had their ups and downs. So he's gonna have to. He's gonna. It's a canon event. He's gonna have to learn this lesson. Hopefully, it's not a loss and it's just a lesson. Hopefully, he has a great career for 10, 20 years, and things work out. Like nobody's rooting against him. I think that's what
right. That's
another
the
thing that
thing.
I don't like.
No
He's
one's
like,
rooting
oh,
against
these
him.
people
We're
are
just
hating
saying,
on us,
bro.
and Nobody's hating on you, bro. Nobody wants y'all to fail. We want y'all to succeed. We just see the red flags that you're looking past. And sometimes when you're in love, you try to look past because you think that's what you're supposed to do. But when you're young, you have the ability, or what you should take advantage of is you have the ability to still pivot. If this isn't right, you got your whole life ahead of you to go a different way, find somebody else. Like we're 40. At 40 years old, I can still go out and find, somebody that I can fall in love with and be with for the rest of my life. If you're 21, you said he's 21, right?
Yeah.
Bro, you got your whole life ahead of you. You don't have to just because you've been with her for 5 years. Oh, yeah. Bro, you got your whole life ahead of you. So, again, nobody wants y'all to fail. We wish you guys the best. We wish you all the luck in the world. But don't be blind. Yeah. Don't be blind to the things that are right in front of you. Like you said, Cole, I've been blind before. Hey, it's tough when you get a baddie.
I'm still blind. You know what I'm saying? And this is another reason why I'm saying you got to be careful, because it's hard to say no to your lady. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to stay mad at your lady.
For real.
And on their side too. When you're in love, women put up with a lot of shit. We put up with a lot of shit. You put up with a lot of shit when you're in love, and you ignore some red flags. But if you address them, it sounds like they're trying to address them. Now they're young. It's a modern era. Their version of working things out is to address the public and put their business out there. Whenever me and my wife are trying to do something, we go behind closed doors. The media, social media doesn't know anything about our business or anything like that. That's just life in the public, I guess. But, shout out to Travis Hunter and his fiance. I believe her name is Leanna. Leanna, yeah. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She's a very beautiful young lady.
We wish you the best.
Yeah, wish them the best. And definitely no ill will, because the marriage is God's first ministry. So definitely hope that works out for them. But that's it for today's show, Brodies. You need to like and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Click on the bottom right-hand corner on YouTube and subscribe and like and share with family and friends. We definitely appreciate your love. But it's the Lower Head Cold World with my main man, J-WIGG. It's Brodie Sports Talk. We'll see y'all next week. Mm-hmm.